Douluo, my Sharingan isn't very proper. Hey. Look who's back for more adventures. We love having you here to continue this story that keeps us all awake. Important note, all of this is pure fiction. So don't try any techniques you hear here in real life, your neighbor might call the cops. This amazing novel and all its rights belong to the original author. We're just the ones giving it voice and drama. Are you enjoying the show? Prove it by subscribing to our YouTube channel and leaving that like that motivates us so much. And if you want VIP access to exclusive content, our Patreon is waiting with things you won't find anywhere else. Chapter 301 gives some of his sister a piece. After listening to Zhu Zhuking's story, Yichu was happy for her, but also felt quite strange. Had Davis actually joined forces with that group of evil soul masters from the Sun-Moon continent? Their cultivation levels were at least soul kings. It seemed the continent wouldn't be peaceful for long. As the sole heir to the empire, Davis, having gained control of such a force, might not be able to suppress his ambition. If he couldn't wait and prematurely usurp the throne, letting the evil soul masters seize power, the consequences were unimaginable. He also wondered what Jindaoliu was up to, why he hadn't made a move against them yet. Yichu Zhuking leaned against Yichu, her bright eyes gazing at him intently, brimming with tears. Yes, I'm here. I'll always be with you, Yichu smiled, but his heart felt heavy. He also thought of his beloved women. He had to protect them well, he already owed them so much, and he couldn't let them suffer any more harm. Zhu Zhuking blushed and clung to him, wanting a kiss. Yichu put his arm around her rounded shoulders and lightly pecked her small lips. Feeling Yichu's love for her, Zhu Zhuking's heart suddenly warmed with joy, and all her grievances vanished instantly. A blush appeared on her fair face. Yichu reached out and stroked her cheek. Are you tired from crying? Do you need something to eat? Zhu Zhuking shook her head shyly. She took Yichu's hand from her cheek, put his fingers in her mouth, and gently bit them. Yichu was stunned for a moment, feeling the wet, warm sensation on his hand, and his azure eyes darkened slightly. Zhuking, I can't resist temptation. Zhu Zhuking blushed, released his large hand, and moved it elsewhere. Tilting her head, she nestled into his arms and said shyly, It's okay, I can help you. Her engagement was finally over. She no longer needed to worry about her past and could finally give her true self to her beloved. Yichu was taken aback. Zhu Zhuking usually didn't seduce him much. He smiled and shook his head. Let's forget it. If you're tired, go to bed early. Zhu Zhuking tilted her head back, her breath sweet as orchids. She gave Yichu a light kiss on the lips, then lazily lay in his arms and closed her eyes. The next day, a knock on the door woke Zhu Zhuking. Opening her eyes, Yichu was already awake, intently watching her. Time to get up, you little sleepyhead. Yichu gently stroked her firm, delicate nose. She seemed to be in a very good mood, even smiling in her sleep. Noticing Yichu's excitement, Zhu Zhuking let out a soft moan. Her sleepy eyes immediately brightened, her beautiful, watery eyes like a pool of crystal spring water, clear, transparent, and captivating. She removed her slender, long legs from Yichu's body. Nuano said, Good morning. Her beautiful face, still slightly shy, slowly magnified before Yichu's eyes, and her red lips instantly felt moist. A light good morning kiss followed. Third miss, eldest miss is calling you and young master for dinner. The voice of Zhu family's assassin came from outside the door. I know, Zhu Zhuking replied coldly. She sat up from the bed and straightened her messy clothes. Yichu, wait for me to finish washing up. After saying that, she rushed into the bathroom. After she cleaned up and changed her clothes, she came out with a wet towel and began to serve Yichu. About 15 minutes later, Yichu, hand in hand with Zhu Zhuking, went to Zhu Zhuing's room. Oh, it seems that you are quite capable, Xiao. My good sister's complexion has improved a lot. As soon as they entered, Zhu Zhuing couldn't help but tease her. The ambiguous look in her eyes made Zhu Zhuking feel uncomfortable all over. It shattered Zhu Zhuking's plan to ease the tension between them. Zhu Zhuking's face flushed, but her eyes remained stubbornly cold. Yichu also looked somewhat embarrassed, forcing a dry laugh. Sister, don't talk nonsense. Nonsense? I don't think so, Zhu Zhuing smiled, teasingly. If you don't speak, no one will think you're mute. Zhu Zhuking's cold voice dispelled the ambiguity in her eyes. She pulled Yichu to sit down opposite Zhu Zhuing. It's really upsetting for you, sister. I even went to the trouble of ordering some of your favorite dishes. Zhu Zhuing propped her cheek up, somewhat self-pitying. But her hands moved, placing the tangy and tender fish skin into Yichu's bowl. Zhu Zhuking's expression, which had just softened, turned cold again. Sister, I can do it myself." Noticing Zhu Zhuking's expression, Yichu switched bowls with hers. "PFFT, haha, okay," Zhu Zhuan giggled, her body trembling. Yichu lowered her eyes, not daring to look any longer. Zhu Zhuking gritted her teeth, took Yichu's hand, and pressed it into her broad chest. They silently fed each other breakfast. Halfway through the meal, Yichu looked up at the person opposite her. "By the way, I wonder what kind of soul beast you want to hunt, sister?" Zhu Zhuan paused, immediately concealing the loneliness and envy in her eyes. Yichu's voice also made Zhu Zhuking look up. Zhu Zhuan pondered for a moment. She had experienced her sister's second soul skill before. Thinking of this, she looked at Zhu Zhuking and said, "I wonder what Zhuking's fourth soul skill is. Would you mind telling me, sister?" Yichu didn't speak, turning to look at Zhu Zhuking. "My fourth soul skill comes from a 30,000-year-old ghost tiger. The soul skill is Netherworld Shadow Clone, which can create 6 physical clones based on 50% of the original's attributes. I also obtained a left arm bone, which increased the clone's power by 10%. Zhu Zhuking truthfully explained her fourth soul skill. A physical clone. 60%. Zhu Zhuan stared at her in shock, never expecting her younger sister's fourth soul skill to be so powerful. Originally, she had planned to make her fourth soul skill Netherworld Slash. After all, she currently lacked a single target ranged attack soul skill. But Zhu Zhuking's soul skill had captivated her. After a moment's thought, "In that case, I'll choose the same soul skill as you, no problem. Let's set off after breakfast." Yichu nodded. Zhu Zhuking snorted coldly. This was the soul beast Yichu had chosen for her. PFFT, Zhu Zhuan chuckled, and in front of her, she gave Yichu a few flirtatious glances. "Good sister, your Xiao is so excellent. How about sharing some with your older sister?" Bang! Zhu Zhuan. "Don't go too far." Zhu Zhuking slammed her hand on the table and stood up angrily, glaring at her. Seeing her angry expression, Zhu Zhuan laughed even harder. Yichu's lips twitched slightly. Her words seemed to open a door for Yichu. A warmth spread through his Danshan, and he quickly banished those filthy thoughts from his mind. Wishing everyone a happy life. QQ Group. 831,821,005. Chapter 302. Can't you have any shame? Starred out Great Forest. Mixed Zone. Space distorted, and Yichu's figure appeared in the jungle. Whoosh! A wolf's claw suddenly slashed towards Yichu, grabbing his body without even drawing blood. Phew! Luckily, I reacted quickly. Yichu patted his chest, his blood-red pupils looking at the black wolf. The bloodlust in its eyes made Yichu frown. A lone wolf was truly rare. Wu! The black wolf howled and immediately charged at Yichu again. Entangle! Yichu stretched out his hand, and dozens of arm-thick blue-silver emperors sprouted from the soil, tightly binding it. With 20,000 years of cultivation, it was easily controlled by Yichu. Looking at its hind leg, there was a deep wound revealing bone, with traces of highly corrosive evil soul power on it. Were those evil soul masters still collecting blood? After a moment's thought, he waved his hand, dismissing it. He didn't have the ability to interfere in these matters right now. He wasn't even that tall. After checking his surroundings and finding no danger, his eyes darted around. 2 very attractive women in leather pants appeared before Yichu. "Yichu, why did it take you so long?" Zhu Zhuking quickly approached Yichu, taking his hand in hers. "We encountered a soul beast, but it's all over now." Yichu smiled gently. Zhu Zhuking looked at Yichu with amazement. Yichu's abilities were truly astounding, helping others obtain super-limited soul rings, soul skills that allowed him to travel between 2 places in an instant. She wondered what other strange abilities he possessed. Suppressing her curiosity about Yichu, Zhu Zhuking became vigilant. This was the Stardew Great Forest, the largest gathering place for soul beasts. She couldn't afford to be careless. "How should we find soul beasts next?" Zhu Zhuking asked Yichu. At Yichu's request, she hadn't brought the assassins. Everything depended on the 3 of them. "Leave the rest to me." Yichu grasped Zhu Zhuking's soft hand and gently tickled her palm. Zhu Zhuking rolled her eyes at him. "What about us?" Zhu Zhuan was taken aback. How long would it take him to search alone? "You 2 are in charge of guarding, and protecting me too," Yichu said half-jokingly. Giggle. Zhu Zhuan paused for a moment, then giggled, swaying her hips as she walked to Yichu's side, resting her elbow on his shoulder. She whispered in his ear, "Little Chu, I'll definitely protect you well, a cough cough. Sister, please have some self-respect." Yichu quickly backed away, his ears turning red. He hadn't felt this shy in a long time. "Can't you have some shame?" Zhu's Huking looked at her coldly, standing protectively in front of Yichu. Zhu's Huayan, who had been momentarily stunned by Yichu's sudden movement, regained her balance. She gave Yichu a resentful look. "Alright, business is business." Zhu's Huayan smoothed her short, neat hair, her gentle yet alluring gaze vanishing, and said seriously, "Then let's go." Yichu nodded, pulling Zhu's Huking along as they walked deeper into the starred-out great forest. His eyes were bloodshot, the purple windmill at the center shimmering. He constantly scanned his surroundings. "Sister, can Xiao Chu manage alone?" Zhu's Huayan looked at Yichu's serious face with curiosity. Even without expression, he was pleasing to the eye. His eyes can see through things. Zhu's Huking frowned, blushing as she explained. "See through things?" Zhu's Huayan looked at Yichu in shock. This ability seemed easy to misunderstand, didn't it? It seemed her sister had experienced it before. Knowing Yichu's ability, Zhu's Huayan calmed down. Half an hour passed. The Zhu's Huayan sisters stood on either side of Yichu, like guards. Yichu was still searching. While observing the spirit beasts, he was also watching the changes in the social spirit beasts within the starred-out great forest. The results seemed somewhat pessimistic. After a long period of observation, he hadn't discovered any trace of an evil spirit master. "Found it!" Yichu's excited voice rang out. The Zhu's Huayan sisters immediately leaped from the tree to Yichu's side. "Let's go right now, Zhu Qing. You two will hold it back, and I'll deal damage." "Okay, I understand." Zhu's Huking nodded seriously. "Are the three of us really okay?" Zhu's Huayan frowned. A 30,000-year-old spirit beast, even an ordinary spirit emperor might not be able to defeat it. With just one spirit master and two spirit venerables, it seemed a bit unreliable. "Don't worry, sister just needs to prepare to absorb the spirit ring." Yichu smiled gently. "We can go find two helpers first." "Helpers? Do you want me to go back and bring those assassins?" "No need." Yichu smiled mysteriously. A quarter of an hour later, Zhu's Huayan stared blankly at the leopard she was riding. She never expected that the helper Yichu mentioned would actually be a soul beast. Her eyes gleamed with curiosity as she looked at him, like peeling an onion. The mystery deepened. Sitting behind her, Zhu's Huking's lips curled slightly, quite pleased with her expression. But upon seeing Yichu beside her, a hint of resentment towards her sister flashed in her eyes. If she weren't afraid to ride alone, she could be nestled comfortably in Yichu's arms. Thinking of this, she mischievously pinched Zhu's Huayan's waist. "Zhu's Huking." Zhu's Huayan trembled, glaring at Zhu's Huking. "We're here, let's get off. Let this couple lead the way." Yichu stopped the leopard beneath him, which immediately let out a mournful cry. Yichu felt apologetic for separating the loving couple, but they were the only suitable ones nearby. With nearly 20,000 years of cultivation, Yichu leaped off the leopard's back. Looking to the side, he saw Zhu's Huayan glaring at Zhu's Huking with embarrassment and anger. He glanced at them, puzzled. After signaling them to be quiet and prepare, he ordered the two shadow leopards to attack the ghost tiger. Under the shade of a tree, the ghost tiger was enjoying its freshly hunted prey. Suddenly, the sound of shrubs breaking came from both sides. Roar! The ghost tiger, its entire body black and its face contorted in a ferocious expression, immediately roared, trying to scare away the intruders. Unfortunately, both shadow leopards were under Yichu's control. Whoosh! The two shadow leopards moved with incredible speed, their streamlined bodies flashing past the ghost tiger's sight, their black fur seemingly disappearing into the shadows, making them difficult to see clearly. Attacked from both sides, the ghost tiger's body emitted a cloud of black mist, condensing into two clones that rushed forward. Its main body also seized the opportunity to escape, moving like a ghost, opening its blood-red maw from the side, ready to bite the male leopard in half. Third soul skill, Netherworld Slash, Amaterasu, a delicate shout rang out. A sharp, purple crescent moon swiftly slashed towards the ghost tiger. Black mist surged from the ghost tiger's body again, and a clone blocked Zhu's Huking's Netherworld Slash. Raw, the black flames suddenly erupting from its body caused a flicker of panic in its dark eyes. Another surge of black mist appeared. To Yichu's somewhat surprised gaze, it had transferred Amaterasu to its clone. In just an instant, The clone was completely burned away. The ghost tiger's aura also weakened considerably. It seemed this move had come at a high price. Roar, sensing the threat, the ghost tiger attempted to retreat. Two swift shadow leopards, having already torn apart its clone, blocked it. The Zhu's Huayan sisters, along with Zhu's Huking's 6 clones, a total of 8 black shadows, appeared, surrounding its retreat. Yi Zhu stood on a tree branch, his pupil technique poised to unleash its power. Wishing everyone a happy life. QQ Group. 831,821,005. Chapter 303,000 Birds and 1,000 Notebooks. Roar, the ghost tiger spun around. Its black, ferocious eyes surveyed its surroundings. Soon, it chose its escape route, the location of Zhu Zhuking's clone. Amaterasu, Yi Chu's right eye bled crimson, and the ghost tiger's eyes widened. Mud flew from its hind legs, shattering as it shot towards Zhu Zhuking's clone like an arrow. Amaterasu, however, still managed to stain its hind leg, and under Yi Chu's control, slowly spread. Roar, the ghost tiger howled in pain, losing its balance in midair. Third soul skill, Netherworld slash. Zhu Zhuking's 2 clones and its main body suddenly unleashed a crescent-shaped slash. 3 slashes swept towards the ghost tiger. The ghost tiger endured the pain, biting off one of the slashes, black mist surging from its body. 2 more clones appeared, transforming into human shields. Thud. The ghost tiger, losing its balance, crashed to the ground. It stared at the black flames that had burned away half its leg in just a few breaths. Bloodshot appeared in its black eyes. Just as the attack was about to spread to its hind legs and point directly at its rear, another clone appeared. It bit directly at its hind leg, tearing off a large chunk of flesh. This ghost tiger is really ruthless. Yi Chu's lips twitched. He didn't use Amaterasu anymore. After all, he could only cripple it, and it wouldn't be good if he killed it. Roar, smelling the blood, the shadow leopard couple immediately went berserk, opening their blood-red maws to bite. Zhu Qing, attack its wound. Second soul skill, Shadow 100 kills. Second soul skill, Netherworld 100 claws. Hearing Yi Chu's voice, Zhu Huayan was not to be outdone. Her second soul skill flashed, and she followed. Roar, severely injured, the ghost tiger, which had been somewhat weak, suddenly became ferocious, and its aura became much stronger. A total of 6 clones emerged from its body. 3 clones blocked the shadow leopard couple. 2 clones went to meet Zhu Zhuking. The ghost tiger's main body and another clone attacked Zhu Huayan, who was charging towards it. This ghost tiger knew how to pick on the weak. Even with one hind leg missing, it was still incredibly fast. Sister, be careful, Zhu Zhuking suddenly cried out. A muffled thud was heard. One of the 2 clones she was facing suddenly retreated, attacking Zhu Huayan, who was attacking the ghost tiger. Suddenly intercepted by a clone, a tiger claw was about to stab at her waist. Zhu Huayan panicked and stopped, blocking with both arms in front of her chest. Divine might, Yi Chu's eyes flashed, and the clone's front hooves were instantly twisted and shattered. Swish! His figure flashed, his feet stepping on ghost shadow steps. He instantly appeared next to Zhu Huayan, a Rasengan the size of a basketball in his hand, casually destroying the clone. Back off, he shouted in a low voice, immediately pulling Zhu Huayan back. Blood-red eyes flashed brightly in the dark forest, startling Zhu Huayan. Great fireball technique. A fireball several meters wide shot out from its mouth, shattering another of Ghost Tiger's clones. Boom! The flames struck the clone, creating an explosion. Even Ghost Tiger's main body was lifted off the ground. Whoosh! Zhu Zhuking's other clones immediately shielded Zhu Huayan behind them, seemingly protecting her, or perhaps guarding their prey. Zhu Huayan pursed her lips, withdrawing her gaze from Yi Chu. She hadn't expected Zhu Zhuking's clones to be so petty. Glancing at Zhu Zhuking's main body, still entangled with the Ghost Tiger's clone, she subtly withdrew her gaze. Roar! Ghost Tiger knew its clone couldn't hold out much longer. Its main body was also in great pain, blood trickling from its mouth. It immediately limped towards Zhu Zhuking. Third soul skill, Netherworld slash. Having used her fourth soul skill and several more Netherworld slashes, Zhu Zhuking's soul power was nearly depleted. How? Yi Chu sneered as he watched Ghost Tiger's back door wide open. Perfect timing to test his new move. He let out a low shout. 1,000 birds, crackling sounds erupted. The cries of thousands of birds filled the air. Suddenly, a storm of blue-purple lightning raged in Yi Chu's right hand. He raised his hand to his eyes, illuminating his handsome face. His azure hair moved without wind. Zhu Huayan and Zhu Zhuking's clone standing beside him were momentarily stunned. Kagado no Mikado, the eternal kaleidoscope lit up. Black flames suddenly ignited between the leaping arcs of electricity. With a flick of his wrist, the lightning in his hand transformed into lightning arrows, striking Ghost Tiger from behind. Roar, Ghost Tiger, having just bitten through Zhu Zhuking's attack, could no longer dodge. Even with a clone, it couldn't completely stop the dozens of arrows. The clone shattered. The remaining arrows pierced the Ghost Tiger's body. 3 of them were embedded in its legs. The pain from the Amaterasu flame became a spur, freeing the Ghost Tiger from the paralysis of the lightning. An insatiable will to survive drove it to recklessly try to break through Zhu Zhuking's defenses. Roar, Zhu Zhuking was powerless to resist. 2 swift shadow leopards were already blocking her way. The Ghost Tiger was about to continue its charge when it suddenly knelt down. Its only remaining hind leg was already half burned by the black flames. Ignoring its roars, Yichu extinguished the Amaterasu flame only after the hind leg was completely burned away. The 2 swift shadow leopards trampled the Ghost Tiger under their feet, ensuring it was completely incapacitated. Zhuking, are you alright? Yichu walked to Zhu Zhuking's side, took her soft hand in his, and a green glow flickered in his hand. At the same time, a delicate fragrance wafted out. Xiaoqiu, you smell so good. Zhu Huayan had appeared unnoticed. She leaned over and gently sniffed Yichu. It feels so good. Zhu Huayan's alluring eyes scrutinized Yichu with interest. Yichu's face stiffened. Zhu Zhuking, who had been smiling but was now pale, suddenly turned cold. She gripped Yichu's hand even tighter. The clone that hadn't yet retracted beside them said coldly, I've told you, can't you have some shame? Another clone also said to Zhu Huayan, stop your delusions. Zhu Huayan's expression turned strange, and she gave a coquettish laugh. She looked at Zhu Zhuking with a mocking gaze. So her clone had indeed stayed behind to guard against her own sister. How heartbreaking. Ahem. Alright. Let's send the Ghost Tiger into my space and start absorbing its soul ring. Otherwise, it might not make it. The Ghost Tiger's 2 forelimbs had been completely devoured by the 2 shadow leopards, blood soaking the ground. Okay, that's settled then. Zhu Huayan looked at the 6 Zhu Zhukings surrounding her. Her lips twitched slightly. With so many people, she definitely couldn't win an argument. Yichu released the recruited shadow leopard couple, letting them go back to their loving relationship and make their cubs. Have a wonderful day, everyone. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 304 My sister can lend it to you. Zhu Zhuking also dispelled her clone. A smug smile played on her lips, a sense of vengeful pleasure welling up inside her. Yichu led her forward, storing the Ghost Tiger in his divine might space. Soon, Yichu and the others disappeared into the forest, leaving only a trail of blood. Divine might space. Zhu Huayan looked at the Ghost Tiger, now a tiger stick, barely clinging to life. Xiaoqiu, what should I do next? Her tone was more normal now. The Ghost Tiger was about to die. If she argued with Zhu Zhuking, she might miss out on her soul ring, which would be quite troublesome. You just need to sit, Yichu will do the rest. Before Yichu could speak, Zhu Zhuking, clinging to her arm, said coldly, blocking her view. She looked like a protective kitten. My dear sister, can't I even talk to Xiaoqiu? Zhu Huayan smiled bitterly and rolled her eyes. It seems her younger sister values Yichu quite a bit. It's not like I need him to tell me. Zhu Zhuking remained unmoved, not even glancing at her. Yichu chuckled awkwardly. He couldn't speak up at a time like this. It wouldn't be good if Zhu Zhuking misunderstood his intentions. Although he believed his Zhuking wouldn't think that way, it was good for her to vent her anger since she had finally gained some advantage over her older sister. You. Fine. Gritting her teeth, Zhu Huayan heard Jiuhu's increasingly weak breathing and had no choice but to sit down obediently, a smile on her face. Xiaoqiu, then I'll trouble you. Yes, don't worry, sister, Yichu nodded, looking at Jiuhu's still open, unwilling eyes. The eternal kaleidoscope appeared in her eyes. Jiuhu's dark eyes also shimmered with Tomo. Sister, it's starting. Quickly close your eyes and absorb the soul ring. Seeing Zhu's Huan still staring blankly at Yichu's eyes, Zhu's Huking glared at her. Even though he was angry, he didn't want anything to go wrong when she absorbed the soul ring. He couldn't help but remind her. Zhu's Huan came back to her senses, her beautiful face flushed. There was no time for embarrassment. She was just curious about what Yichu was going to do. She didn't expect to be so engrossed in watching and even have those kinds of thoughts about him. Feeling a mysterious aura locking onto her, Zhu's Huan immediately closed her eyes, clearing away those shameful thoughts. Wisps of black mist began to emerge from the ghost tiger's body, tangling together and turning into a torrent. It surged into Zhu's Huan's body. Zhu's Huan's body trembled, and her veins seemed to throb. She could only try her best to concentrate and accept the black energy. HMPH, Zhu's Huking snorted coldly. Zhuking, what's wrong? Yichu looked at her strangely. You can't look around like that. Zhu's Huking looked at Yichu resentfully, hugged his arm, and gently bit his shoulder. Yichu looked embarrassed, coughed twice, and said, "Oh, cough cough, I didn't mean to." He still remembered that Zhu's Huan had almost fallen for his trick when they first met yesterday. "I know you didn't mean to." Zhu's Huking glanced at Zhu's Huan, who was sitting cross-legged on the ground. It was all because of this woman. She had bullied her for so many years, and now she dared to make a move on her man. No way. She then looked at Yichu and said quietly, "If you dare to deliberately seduce her, Zhu's Huking paused, thought for a moment, and realized she couldn't leave Yichu. She could only threaten him with a red face. "I won't serve you anymore. Those stockings and patterns you're eyeing, forget about them. How could that be? I only need you, my little kitty." Yichu pulled Zhu's Huking into his arms, gently stroking her back and inhaling her fragrance. Zhu's Huking responded softly, tiptoeing to give Yichu a light kiss on the corner of his mouth. Nuano asked worriedly, "Will something happen to my sister?" Yichu couldn't help but chuckle. He said with a light laugh, "Don't worry, I'm here." To reassure her, Yichu suddenly unleashed a blue-silver domain beneath his feet, helping Zhu's Huan adjust her condition. After finishing, Yichu looked at Zhu's Huking, wanting to bury his face in her arms. "Zhuking, I'm a little tired." Holding Yichu's head, Zhu's Huking blushed. "Okay, I know." She sat down, stretched out her legs, patted them, and gestured for Yichu to lie down. Clearly, this wasn't the first time she'd done this. Yichu smiled and lay down, resting his head on the big cat's soft, fragrant thighs. Looking up, he couldn't even fully see her pretty face. The big cat was simply terrifying. He reached out and wrapped his arms around her smooth waist, tilting his head to inhale Zhu's Huking's intoxicating fragrance. He said softly, "Zhuking, you're so good." Yichu nestled in her arms, feeling very comfortable. Yichu, I will always be this good to you." Zhu's Huking smiled gently. Her terrible life had changed since she met him. She gently pulled her jade-like legs closer, allowing her beautiful eyes to see Yichu's handsome face. Her soft hands gently stroked Yichu's tender face, cleaning the remaining bloodstains from the corners of his eyes. The next moment, Zhu's Huking's body trembled, and two clones suddenly appeared. They came to Yichu's legs, knelt down, and stretched out their small, warm hands to gently massage their husbands. Even the beautiful eyes of the two clones were filled with affection as they gazed at Yichu, their techniques no longer clumsy. Yichu comfortably enjoyed Zhu's Huking's lap as a pillow. Time slowly passed. Zhu's Huking's soul power suddenly began to rise. 41, 42, until it stopped at 43. A surge of soul power suddenly erupted from her body. 4 soul rings, 2 yellow, 1 purple, and 1 black, unfolded beneath her. Meow, with a loud meow, Zhu's Huan had entered the state of martial soul possession. Sitting cross-legged, she suddenly stretched out her body and let out a seductive moan. Zhu's Huking, who was serving Yichu, darkened her face. She stared at Yichu's face, her eyes unblinking. So comfortable, Zhu's Huan opened her eyes, a purple light flashing in them. Suddenly, 2 identical voices came. Shameless, Zhu's Huan turned her head and was stunned to see Yichu's pleasure-seeking appearance. She also noticed Zhu's Huking's 2 clones staring coldly at her. Now that she had the same soul skill, she was no longer afraid. She blew a fragrant breeze towards Yichu, biting her red lips, looking seductive. "Little Chu, are her 2 clones enough? Do you want me to lend you a few to play with?" "Play as much as you want, Zhu's Huan," Zhu's Huking shouted, her sharp claws already extended. "Ahem, sister, please stop joking. I think you should refine this ghost tiger's soul bone first. Yichu quickly stood up to stop him. Although 14 big cats playing ball would be a visual feast, he didn't dare to watch recklessly. With the appearance of Amaterasu, the ghost tiger's body burned to ashes. A left arm bone appeared within. HMPH. For Xiaochu's sake, I'll let it go this time, but sister wasn't joking. Xiaochu, if you get tired of playing with the kittens, sister can also. Zhu Huiyan giggled, almost leaning into Yichu's arms. Fortunately, Yichu stepped back a few paces. But when Zhu Huiyan took the soul bone, she still intentionally or unintentionally stroked his palm. Wishing everyone a happy life. QQ Group. 831,821,005. Chapter 305. Your sister seduced me. Zhu Huiyan's fragrant tongue danced across her red lips as she received the soul bone. She then gave Yichu a flirtatious wink before swaying her hips and leaving. Yichu stared blankly at her alluring appearance. He quickly turned back to look at Zhu Xiuqing. Xiuqing. 3 Zhu Xiuqings gritted their teeth, their main bodies glaring at Yichu, while their clones stared at Zhu Huiyan. Is it pretty? Zhu Xiuqing asked coldly. Yichu hesitated, then awkwardly smiled and said, So, my Xiuqing is prettier. HMPH. Zhu Xiuqing snorted, grabbed Yichu's collar, and launched into a long kiss that lasted several minutes. But in this matter, how could she be a match for Yichu? With a series of return my beauty punches, Yichu successfully subdued the big cat. Just as he was admiring his spoils, his fingers itching to strike, Zhu Xiuqing suddenly mustered some strength and pushed Yichu away. One of her clones immediately stepped in, grabbing Yichu's collar and offering her red lips. Zhu Xiuqing, what are you doing? You're cheating, ugh. Zhu Xiuqing's face was flushed red, and she gasped for breath, her hands supporting her knees. Black soul rings flickered beneath her feet, and her body trembled. 4 more clones appeared, standing in a line in front of Yichu, who was being tortured. Zhu Xiuqing lowered her head and pursed her red lips, glancing at Zhu Ziyun, who was absorbing soul bones. HMPH. I'll settle the score with you later. The clones would still transmit some senses back. Zhu Xiuqing, her face frosty, suddenly let out a soft cry. She realized that her body was slowly becoming somewhat strange. Her face was like a peach blossom, and she looked at Yichu, who was gently kissing her, with eyes full of affection. Yichu did not resist Zhu Xiuqing's punishment much, and almost fainted. He lay on the ground, his eyes somewhat glazed as he looked at the 6 pairs of large cats forming a circle above him. Zhu Xiuqing's real body was poised on top of Yichu, her long, flowing black hair cascading down. It landed right on Yichu's cheek, blocking his view. The next second, a soft, squeezing sensation spread across his body, and the alluring scent of her hair lingered in his nostrils. He could hear her soft, reproachful voice in his ear. Why are you looking around like that? He felt a slight dampness on his shoulders and neck. The big cat was stamping its mark. Yichu reached out and lifted a strand of her long hair, tucking it behind her ear, while his other hand slipped through Zhu Xiuqing's slender waist. He pulled her tightly into his arms, turned his head to look at her slightly dazed eyes, and said softly, Xiuqing, let me go. Zhu Xiuqing pouted, her cool, jade-like hand gently stroking her beloved's face, her eyes filled with resentment. I don't want to. Don't you like it? Well, no, it's just that I feel a little uncomfortable. Yichu gave her a knowing look. Zhu Xiuqing could naturally feel the heat that she had aroused in Yichu. Her face flushed red, and she glared at him. Sister's still here, not now, then stop torturing me, Yichu, his face burning, pleaded. PFFT. Zhu Xiuqing chuckled, wrapping her arms around Yichu's neck, about to kiss him. A gentle kiss, and she said softly, then can you hug me? With that, she pressed her cheek against Yichu's chest, gently stroking him. The 6 flushed clones around them had also dissipated. Yichu also breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed he needed to train properly, otherwise 7 times the pleasure wouldn't be so easy to bear. Half an hour passed. A familiar groan came, and Zhu Xiuqing immediately became alert. She looked up at Yichu. Seeing him obediently closing his eyes, a smile immediately appeared on her face. Zhu Huiyan looked at the young couple lying on the ground with a puzzled expression. She smiled gently. Little Chu's sister has finished absorbing. She turned to Yichu's side, looking down at him. Zhu Huiyan, what exactly do you mean? You just opened your eyes and you're already looking for my man. Zhu Xiuqing didn't get up, still holding Yichu tightly. She glared at her. Zhu Huan raised an eyebrow. I just wanted to thank Xiao Chu. The more possessive Zhu Huqing was, the more she wanted to tease her. Looking at Yichu with his eyes closed, a sinister smile curled at the corner of her lips. She walked to the side, her high heels suddenly slipping off. She raised a snow-white foot clad in black stockings. Her toe lightly touched Yichu's ankle, then traced a path down his calf to his knee. Yichu trembled and opened his eyes. Yichu, what's wrong? To avoid getting into trouble, Yichu said in a low voice, your sister seduced me. Zhu Huqing also realized what was happening and turned to look. Her face immediately turned cold. Zhu Huan. You've gone too far, meow. Martial soul possession was completed in an instant. A cat's paw immediately stabbed towards Zhu Huan's jade-like foot. My dear sister, you really have a cruel heart, can't you share a little with your older sister? Zhu Huan spun around, hooking her shoe with her toe, and retreated. Don't even think about it, Zhu Huqing coldly shouted. She quickly stood up and helped Yichu up as well. Little Chu, how are you feeling? Zhu Huan looked at Yichu with a smile, as if expecting his praise. Not good. Please have some self-respect, older sister. Yichu stared straight ahead at Zhu Huqing beside him. PFFT. Zhu Huan chuckled. For some reason, she felt a little disappointed. Alright, I won't tease you anymore. Zhu Huqing half-shielded Yichu, still wary. Her anger didn't lessen in the slightest. Perhaps it was because of Zhu Huqing's status as his older sister, but Yichu felt a slight tingling in the area he had just been teased. To ease the awkwardness, Yichu coughed twice. Ahem. I wonder what your soul bone skill is, sister, want to know? Zhu Huan chuckled, one hand on her hip, her crimson lips slightly upturned. She seemed to be plotting something mischievous. Zhu Huan, if you want to tell us, just tell us. We don't want to know anyway. Zhu Huqing snorted coldly. Zhu Huqing, is it really okay to keep calling your sister by her name? Zhu Huan smiled teasingly at her. Then, she looked at Yichu with flirtatious eyes. Since Xiao Chu wants to know, then I'll just tell you, my soul bone skill, I call it Changji Yui. Changji Yui. Yichu looked at her in confusion. This ability seemed different from Zhu Huqing's. Yes, that's the name. It's a little different from my sister's. The skill's effect is that when encountering fatal damage, you can use Changji Yui to offset it, but 50% of your soul power will be drained, Zhu Huan explained slowly, the smile on her face proving that she was quite satisfied with his soul bone skill. Yichu also remembered. After dodging its first Amaterasu attack, the ghost tiger immediately appeared weakened. That's indeed a very good survival skill. Yes, it's quite good, Zhu Huqing nodded in agreement, surprised that the soul bones produced by the same soul beast could have such a significant difference. Wishing everyone a happy life. QQ Group. 831,821,005. Chapter 306. An Early Sisters Gathering. Yes, it's quite good, Zhu Huan swayed her hips as she approached Zhu Huqing. Her eyes were sharp as she said calmly, and my soul power has already reached level 44, Zhu Huqing frowned, the fear still lingering in her heart despite Zhu Huan's gaze. Her delicate fists clenched tightly. Zhu Huan smiled meaningfully, taking in her sister's behavior. What a little lamb. Her smile turned cold, though she didn't know what she was thinking. She quickly composed herself. Congratulations, sister, Yichu congratulated her. Haha, it's all thanks to you, Xiao Chu. Zhu Huan chuckled foolishly. Sister is even willing to repay you with her body. I wonder if Xiao Chu would like to. Oh, sister, please don't joke like that, otherwise, Zhuqing will really get angry. Yichu waved her hand, not daring to reply. Today, Zhu Huqing had only kissed her in turn. If it happened again, it would be hard to say. The relationship between the two sisters was truly delicate. Zhu Huan didn't restrain herself but instead became even more unrestrained. She reached out to put her arm around Yichu's shoulder. What do you care about her? As long as you agree, I'll snatch you away right away. Zhu Huqing, who had been frowning all along, finally exploded. Zhu Huan. Are you deliberately picking a fight? She snapped. Her clear eyes were fixed on her. If you think that breaking through to level 44 means you can continue to bully me like before, then you're welcome to try. As soon as she finished speaking, Zhu Huqing immediately assumed a fighting stance. This was also a good opportunity to seek justice for what she had done to Yichu earlier. Yichu was about to reach out to stop her when Zhu Huqing stepped back. Yichu, don't worry about it. Today I'll show her that I'm stronger than her. Alright, that's exactly what I was thinking. Let me see if you've really grown up. Zhu Huayan was not to be outdone, getting into a fighting stance as well. She also wanted to try out her newly acquired soul skill, and more importantly, see how much Zhu King had improved. Yichu looked at them blankly. Why are they fighting over nothing? Xiao, step aside for now. I won't hurt her, Zhu Huayan said, her eyes haughty, her seductive demeanor vanishing as she transformed into an ice queen, exuding an aura of domineering confidence. HMPH. Who'll hurt whom is still uncertain, Zhu King retorted coldly, staring intently at her. Well, you two, take it easy. Don't go too far, Yichu sighed helplessly. He wasn't oblivious to Zhu Huayan's deliberate provocation. He had no choice but to step aside, observing this premature sisterly rivalry with his Sharingan. Sister, you can go first, Zhu Huayan said, tossing her short, neat hair. 2 yellow, 1 purple, and 1 black spirit rings spun beneath her feet. Alright, Zhu King gritted her teeth and immediately lunged forward. Yichu covered his face in exasperation. Zhu Huayan was far too overconfident. Not to mention that Zhu King's 4th spirit skill was significantly stronger than hers. Zhu King's skills, such as ghostly shadow steps and purple demon eye, were enough to create a significant gap in skill. Moreover, she possessed an external soul bone, the shadow spider spear. First soul skill, netherworld thrust, Zhu Huayan coldly shouted, seemingly holding nothing back, unleashing a netherworld thrust directly towards Zhu King's chest. First soul skill. Netherworld thrust, Zhu King gritted her teeth, her first soul ring flashing, and immediately met the attack. Yichu frowned. Zhu King seemed unwilling to use ghostly shadow steps or similar techniques. She was simply using her soul skills honestly. Clang. Sparks flew in the air. The 2 netherworld cats continuously interacted and collided in mid-air. Third soul skill, netherworld underworld, Zhu Huayan sneered, shifting her body from Zhu King's, her soft hand gently stroking her eyes. Zhu King's body immediately stiffened. An illusion, huh? Yichu murmured from the side. Unexpectedly, Zhu Huayan used her trump card soul skill so quickly. This soul skill seemed to be something she had prepared specifically for Zhu Qing. It brought Zhu Qing back to that heartless family, back to those days of the past. Is sister trying to help Zhu Qing truly move on? Yichu realized. No wonder Zhu Huayan deliberately provoked a conflict. In the arena, both had used their 4th soul skill, netherworld shadow clone. Even though Zhu Qing's clone was stronger than Zhu Huayan's, Zhu King, whose movements were slowed by the illusion, found herself on the defensive. Zhu King stubbornly refused to use her purple demon eye to break through the illusion, her face somewhat sorrowful. Perhaps remembering something, Zhu King and Zhu Huayan collided violently, leaving a trail of sparks in the air. Yichu, realizing they couldn't truly fight back, relaxed. He glanced guiltily at the fiercely battling Zhu King, but the 14 pairs of large cats couldn't take their eyes off him. Third soul skill, netherworld slash, Zhu King's expression turned serene. Her voice was clear and firm as 3 crescent-shaped blades flashed out. Zhu Huayan's expression changed. She hadn't expected Zhu King to emerge from the darkness of the past so quickly. 6 clones, 5 gun. The backlash from the injuries had left them pale. They were somewhat dazed, unable to accept the fact that they had lost. Seeing that the battle was over, Zhu King stopped, staring blankly at Yichu. Oh, cough cough, Yichu thought Zhu King was warning him not to look around. He quickly looked away. Seeing his somewhat flustered appearance, Zhu King's lips curled into a captivating smile. Yichu, please heal my sister. Zhu King retracted her clones. Her complexion wasn't good either, her soul power had been significantly drained. Sweat still clung to her beautiful face from the nightmare. Okay, I understand. After saying that, Yichu went to Zhu King's side first and helped her sit down. Zhu King's red lips curled up, unable to suppress her joy. She wrapped her arms around his neck and offered her red lips. Yichu, thank you. Hate you? Zhu King asked you to treat me, didn't she? Zhu Huayan rolled her eyes and slumped to the ground without any regard for her image. Coming, Yichu chuckled and came behind Zhu Huayan, placing his palm on her back. A green, vibrant life force flowed into her body. Her nostrils were filled with the fragrance of Yichu. Feeling the warm palm on her back, Zhu Huayan's pretty face flushed, her eyes filled with seductive allure. She giggled and said, "How, now I finally know why Xiuqing likes you so much? Aren't you going to consider your sister?" "Sister, please don't joke like that," Yichu said helplessly. Under Zhu Xiuqing's intense gaze, he only wanted to heal Zhu Huayan as soon as possible. However, he didn't notice that Zhu Xiuqing's eyes were no longer cold. Zhu Huayan turned her head and met her gaze, sharing a rare smile. Zhu Xiuqing's smile was relaxed and sincere. Zhu Huayan's smile carried a hint of melancholy. "Alright, Xiuqing, sister, let's go back to the inn first, wishing everyone a pleasant life." QQ Group. 831,821,005. Chapter 307. The 3-day term has passed. In a remote town on the edge of the starred-out Great Forest, Yichu and her two sisters, Zhu Xiuqing and Zhu Huayan, appeared nearby. The sun was about to completely sink below the horizon. Zhu Xiuqing and Zhu Huayan stood arm in arm, like sisters in an ordinary family, leaning on each other. This time the harvest was really great. "Come on, Xiao, let your sister treat you to a big meal." A cool evening breeze caressed their faces. Zhu Huayan felt completely relaxed. The worries brought by Davis had temporarily been blown away by the wind. Yichu didn't answer. Looking at the afterglow of the setting sun, she seemed to remember something. She suddenly felt a little ashamed. Jinringsu had said that she had to see her every 3 days, and now it seemed to be the 4th day. She had been so engrossed in her sweet words that she had completely forgotten. When they met, she was afraid she would be in for a beating. She hesitated for a moment and glanced at Zhu Xiuqing beside her. "Yichu, what's wrong?" Xiuqing, I might have to go back to Yongdao City first to see her." Yichu smiled helplessly and scratched her palm. "Her?" Zhu Xiuqing was stunned for a moment, then quickly realized. The only person who could make him so wary and cautious was Jinringsu. She gave him a resentful glare. "Will you be back tonight?" "Yes." Seeing her agree, Yichu nodded with a smile. Zhu Zuyun, who was standing to the side, was a little confused. Why were these two suddenly speaking in riddles to her? However, she understood that Yichu was leaving temporarily. She asked with concern, "Xiao, won't you stay and have dinner with your sister before you go?" Yichu shook his head and said with a light laugh, "Sister, I won't have dinner. Let Xiuqing keep you company. If I go now, I should be able to make it in time for dinner." "All right then." Zhu Huayan didn't insist. "Xiuqing, I'll trouble you tonight." Yichu gave Zhu Xiuqing some more instructions. For example, she asked her to teach Zhu Huayan the hidden spirit technique to hide her soul ring and cultivation level. As for the Zhuan Bianguang, that was up to Zhu Xiuqing herself. "Okay, I understand. Be careful." Zhu Xiuqing nodded obediently, understanding that Jinringsu was no pushover and that he should be careful. "Don't worry, I'm leaving." Yichu gave Zhu Xiuqing a light peck as a farewell kiss. He then said goodbye to Zhu Huayan and disappeared from the two women's sight. "Sister, Xiao seems very busy." Zhu Huayan raised an eyebrow and pulled her towards the inn. She wasn't oblivious to everything. "Yet, I have quite a few sisters," Zhu Xiuqing said calmly. She had already accepted this and had nothing to hide. "I knew it was like that." Zhu Huayan wasn't surprised. In her opinion, Yichu is so outstanding that any girl, unless blind, would develop a liking for him. Good looks, good temperament, good talent, he was good in every way. In this world, having too many women would make one feel guilty. Where could one find a man like that? Zhu Huayan, arm in arm with Zhu Xiuqing, walked down the streets of the small town, attracting glances from time to time. The two sisters were already used to it. "By the way, Xiuqing, what do you think of me?" Zhu Huayan suddenly asked her sister, almost as if possessed. Zhu Xiuqing was taken aback, looking at her strangely. "Sister, are you serious?" In the secret chamber of the Crown Prince's residence in Xiandao City, Jinringsu sat coldly at the stone table. It was laden with dishes that Yichu and she herself liked. These past few days, especially yesterday, she had waited the longest. She had even taken the time to put on some light makeup. She had thought that on the 3rd day, he would at least come to see her. But that bastard was lost in his own world, probably having completely forgotten about her. At this moment, she felt even more disgusted by Yichu's philandering. If he only loved one person, he wouldn't have these troubles. Jinringsu was about to get up and throw the food to the dogs when her golden eyes lit up. Turning her head, she saw Yichu's figure appear in her line of sight. Their eyes met. The previously expressionless Jin Ringsu suddenly blushed. She immediately looked away and said coldly, "Turn off your martial spirit, ahoha." "Sorry." Yichu chuckled awkwardly, deactivated his Sharingan, and glanced at the nearly cold food on the table. Feeling somewhat guilty, he walked to the table. He opened his mouth to explain, HMPH. What are you trying to say? Simply forgot me? Or have you found an excuse to forget me? With such convenient soul techniques, can't you even spare a moment to get out of their beds and look at me?" Jin Ringsu snorted coldly, raising her golden eyes to give him a chilling glance. She didn't want to believe that drug of a man's excuses at all. Yichu was speechless for a moment, not knowing what to say. He could only brazenly sit down next to Jin Ringsu. In his mind, he thought of Ning Rongrong. Every time she threw a tantrum, he only needed to pamper her, and she would half-heartedly agree and be coaxed by him. He glanced at Jin Ringsu's frosty face and made up his mind. He reached out and tentatively stroked her soft waist. Jin Ringsu's gaze immediately turned even colder. She bit her red lips, her pretty face unable to help but blush slightly. "Say what you want to say, don't touch me, otherwise, I don't mind cutting off your hand." "Cut it off then," Yichu chuckled, a dead pig not afraid of boiling water. He began to grope her even more brazenly. "You think I wouldn't dare?" A tightness gripped her chest, and Jin Ringsu's anger intensified. Did he really think she was joking with him, that she could be manipulated at will? "You're asking for death?" Jin Ringsu shouted coldly. Her soul power surged, and golden light flashed from her body. Yichu directly pinched her cheek, forcing her mouth slightly open. He then instantly pressed against her. In just an instant, the light dimmed. Jin Ringsu's breath caught in her throat. She stared blankly at the azure eyes so close to hers. When she tried to struggle, she found herself firmly held by Yichu. She wanted to bite him. But after her previous experience, she knew that even if she bit him until she bled, this bastard wouldn't let go. Remembering how she had trembled all over after only a short time under his control, her face instantly turning red, she didn't want to experience that shame again. Just as she was about to gather her soul power to resist, Yichu seemed to have seen through her thoughts. He didn't choose to go any further and immediately released her. "Yichu?" Jin Ringsu's face flushed crimson, her heart filled with shame and indignation. She let out a sharp cry, glaring fiercely at him, her soft hands clenched tightly. She had already gathered her soul power, about to deliver a punch to Yichu's chest. Seeing that this move had no effect and had even backfired, Yichu simply admitted his mistake. "Zuir, this time it was indeed my fault. You can do whatever you want with me." He spread his hands wide, his chest exposed, ready to be dealt with. Wishing everyone a happy life. QQ Group. 831,821,005. Chapter 308 Tang Hao's appearance. Hearing Yichu's words, Jin Ringsu paused in her actions. She frowned, looking at his earnest expression, her face flushing even more for some reason. "What did you just call me?" "Zuir, actually, I've wanted to call you that for a long time." Yichu hesitated for a moment, then spoke the truth. Looking at her uncertain gaze, he asked, "What's wrong? You don't like it?" "No." Jin Ringsu pursed her red lips, gently shook her head, and withdrew her hand. She had long felt that Yichu calling her by her name directly made a distance. "If you want to call me that, then so be it." Yichu raised an eyebrow. He hadn't expected that changing his form of address would make Jin Ringsu back down. This was truly an unexpected delight. "Okay, Zuir," Yichu called out happily. This address seemed to bring their relationship much closer. Jin Ringsu's pretty face flushed. No one had ever called her that before. At most, Jin Douluo and the others called her Xiao Wu. Seeing Yichu's grinning face, Jin Ringsu felt a flutter in her heart, but she snorted coldly. "HMPH. Don't be so smug. If you dare to be late again next time, I won't be so easy to talk to." She then wiped her still slightly damp red lips. Feeling his breath, her beautiful face flushed. She glared at him fiercely again. "What if I really can't get away?" Yichu grabbed Jin Ringsu's soft hand and said with a forced smile. "Even if you're really busy, you have to let me know in advance." Of course, spending time with other women doesn't count. Jin Ringsu pulled her hand away. If he had time for other women, there was no reason he wouldn't have time for her. "Don't worry, I'll definitely remember that." Saying this, Yichu placed his hand on the stone table. A crimson soul force spread out, heating the stone table and warming the food on it. Alright, let's eat first. I specifically saved room to eat here. Yichu picked up the bowl of rice that was already filled and first served some food to Jinriksu. Is that so? Then shouldn't you explain where that unfamiliar woman sent on you came from? Jinriksu sneered. Sitting so close, her sense of smell was very sharp. She had smelled Yichu's women more or less on him. But this time, among the two fragrances, besides the one from Zhu's Huking that she was more familiar with, there was another scent she had never seen before. It's Zhuking's sister, Yichu said calmly. Apart from her flirting with him, their relationship was still very pure. Therefore, Yichu had no need to hide it. Zhu's Huking's sister? You really know how to play games? Jinriksu's face, which had just calmed down, turned ugly again. She even imagined Yichu taking on two women at once. No wonder she forgot about her. The twin sisters were much more attractive than her. Yichu paused for a moment, then smiled wryly. Zuir, have you misunderstood something? Am I really that worthless in your eyes, isn't it? Does it make a difference to you if one more or one less comes along? Jinriksu turned to look at him, her smile somewhat mocking. Yichu is speechless. It seemed Jinriksu still harbored deep resentment towards him. He could only patiently explain, I was just asked by Zhuqing to help her sister hunt souls. If you don't believe me, I can take you to the starred-out Great Forest right now to meet the two sisters. No need, I don't want to see her. Jinriksu refused outright. She didn't want to see Zhu's Huking again anytime soon. Why should she deny her feelings for Yichu? She only wanted him to love her. What was wrong with that? Yichu rolled his eyes. Then Zuir, don't slander me. What's there to be aggrieved about? Jinriksu glanced at him before picking up her bowl and beginning to eat. She didn't hold it against Yichu for missing their meeting because he was hunting souls. It was better than him neglecting her because he was with other women. Yichu looked at the food she had put on his plate and knew he had finally appeased her. While eating, Yichu suddenly became absent-minded. Remembering the traces of evil soul masters he had discovered in the starred-out Great Forest, he couldn't help but ask, by the way, Zuir, has Zhu Bang and the others made any unusual moves lately? Jinriksu paused, a hint of murderous intent appearing on her face, her eyes icy. Recently, that old man Zhuyi had been summoning Zhu Bang more and more often. Jinriksu was even considering whether to increase the dosage of the medicine to suppress these court matters. Jinriksu said coldly, they have begun to contact the remnants of the Haoshan sect. The remnants of the Haoshan sect? Yichu frowned, quickly realizing who it was. You mean the four major single-attribute clans? Now that the Clear Sky sect is under lockdown, who else could it be but them? Jinriksu sneered, a hint of disdain in her eyes. So what's the situation? Has any clan agreed? Yichu continued to ask. No, they've all been wasting their time. No one has agreed yet. If they really dare to get involved with Zhu Bang, then they have no reason to exist. Jinriksu's voice was icy. To her, the so-called four major single-attribute clans were nothing more than the spirit hall showing mercy by sparing their lives. If they didn't know what was good for them, then they should pay back their lives. By the way, recently, Tang Hao's figure has been suspected to have appeared in the Power Clan. Tang Hao, Yichu was shocked. Could it be that he really didn't die back then? Has he been lying low in the Power Clan all this time? That's right, but I can't be sure. Uncle Kyanjin said his aura was a bit strange. He seems to be involved with evil spirit masters. Jinriksu glanced at Yichu calmly. Squinting, she asked, why do you seem so shocked? Haha. I'm just surprised that Tang Hao would hide among the Power Clan. Yichu chuckled dryly. His shock was no less. He was shocked not only that Tang Hao wasn't dead, but even more surprised that he was actually mixed up with evil spirit masters. So, wouldn't it be inevitable that the Power Clan and evil spirit masters would become involved? That old gorilla was the kind of person who would kneel down at the side of Tang San. Is that so? Jinriksu frowned. It was that feeling again, the feeling of being distrusted. Yes, Yichu nodded. He couldn't explain it openly now. He had almost killed Tang Hao. He didn't dare reveal the existence of Aming and Erming. Humans and spirit beasts were ultimately mortal enemies. Hunting a 100,000-year-old spirit beast was far too easy for the spirit hall. A hint of disappointment flashed in Jinriksu's eyes as she silently ate a mouthful of rice, feeling a bitter taste. She didn't press him further. Wishing you all a happy life. QQ Group. 831,821,005. Chapter 309 Vast Ocean Universe Cover. Hearing that Tang Hao was not dead, Yi Chu was filled with thoughts. He didn't notice the subtle expression on Jin Ringsu's face and ate his meal in a sullen mood. Thinking of the evil soul master's purpose, Yi Chu immediately put aside matters related to Tang Hao. He wanted to accelerate his cultivation speed to deal with all sorts of enemies in the future, even the gods mentioned by the evil soul masters. He still had to rely on the divine inheritance. Thinking of this, Yi Chu looked at Jin Ringsu beside him and said in a deep voice, "Zuir, I want something from the palace." "What is it?" Jin Ringsu looked at him in confusion. What was there in the Heaven Dao Imperial Palace that was worth coveting? Yi Chu said seriously, "You should have heard of this thing. It is the Heaven Dao Empire's national treasure, the vast ocean universe cover." "National treasure? What do you want that thing for? It doesn't seem to be anything special, does it?" Jin Ringsu had been the crown prince of the empire for so many years and had naturally heard of this thing. It was all talk and no action. "Secret." Yi Chu was about to utter the word secret when he noticed the air seemed to have grown colder. His physical strength was considerable. He frowned and looked up to see Jin Ringsu staring intently at him with icy, chilling eyes. "Is this how you love me?" With just these two words, Jin Ringsu's eyes were filled with pain, her fists clenched tightly. Before, she could overlook these things as long as Yi Chu didn't lie to her, but now, even at a time like this, he was still hiding things from her. "Of course not, Zuir. If you want to know, I'll tell you." Yi Chu smiled apologetically, put down what he was holding, and leaned over to embrace Jin Ringsu, their smooth faces pressed together. He whispered, "The vast ocean universe cover actually has another name, the heart of the sea god." "The heart of the sea god," Jin Ringsu murmured, her brows furrowing slightly. For her, who already knew about the divine trial, this name already spoke volumes. Leaning against Yi Chu's chest, she looked up at him, understanding why he hadn't told her yet. Before she could speak, Yi Chu interrupted. "Yes, just as you thought, it's related to deities, the key to unlocking the 9 trials of the sea god." "The sea god?" Jin Ringsu stared blankly at him, puzzled. "You want to undergo the 9 trials of the sea god?" Hard to say." Yi Chu pondered for a moment, then shook his head. The sea god's position wasn't his first choice. His original plan was to go to the City of Slaughter to obtain the Killing God domain, then kill Tang Chen and seize the Azure Divine Sword. But now, the Azure Divine Sword seemed to be in Bibi Dong's hands. Even if he obtained the Killing God domain, he wouldn't be able to unlock the Divine Trials, but he still had to go to the City of Slaughter. Hard to say? "Don't you want this divine position?" Jin Ringsu frowned. This was an opportunity others desperately sought to become a god. She didn't understand why Yi Chu didn't want it. Could it be that he wanted to give it to another woman? Thinking of this, Jin Ringsu's eyes suddenly turned cold. Haha. The key now seems to be getting the vast ocean universe cover first, right? Whether it will recognize me is another matter. Yi Chu looked at her serious expression, shook his head and chuckled, tightening his embrace and feeling the softness of her body. Opportunities to take advantage of her don't come around often. Jin Ringsu's porcelain-like skin flushed, and she rolled her charming golden eyes at Yi Chu. She didn't resist, only saying with some disappointment, "I don't know where the vast ocean universe cover is right now, but I'll find it as soon as possible and get it for you." "Okay, then thank you for your trouble." Yi Chu gently blew away the hair by her ear and bit her earlobe, which was reddened by the heat. "And no, it's okay." Jin Ringsu gritted her teeth, her eyes shimmering. This was the first time she had allowed Yi Chu to do this to her like this. He bit from her earlobe to her neck, turning her snow-white swan neck a different color, before finally stopping. Jin Ringsu had already collapsed into Yi Chu's arms. She had her own plans. She was determined to obtain the vast ocean universe cover. If she and Yi Chu both became gods, it would be a legendary tale across the continent, while other women, without divine positions, would ultimately be nothing more than beautiful skeletons and a handful of dust. In the end, Yi Chu would still belong to her alone. "Yi Chu, you remember this? Don't lie to me." Jin Ringsu grabbed Yi Chu's collar, her flushed face full of stubbornness and seriousness. Before Yi Chu could speak, Jin Ringsu tilted her pretty face up and pressed herself against him, slowly responding to Yi Chu's kiss. A long, drawn-out kiss ensued. After informing Jin Ringsu that the crown prince of the Douluo Empire had already joined forces with the evil soul masters, Yi Chu bid farewell. "Remember what you said, Come stay with me for the night in a few days, okay? I'll be staying in Xiandao City for a long time then, so I'll have plenty of time to accompany you in your cultivation." Yichu reached out and rubbed Jinriksu's rosy cheeks. This kind of opportunity was rare. Although Jinriksu glared at him, at least she didn't resist. Yichu didn't know if it was thanks to Zhu Qing or because he had explained the reason for the vast ocean universe cover to her. "Have you rubbed enough?" Jinriksu felt her cheeks were a little sore and tried to slap Yichu away. But a green light shone in Yichu's hand, and a warm and comfortable power made Jinriksu's eyes squint. "This is the first time I've rubbed you, Zuir," Yichu said with an embarrassed smile. "Get lost. I want to rest." Jinriksu slapped his hand away and turned to walk towards her boudoir. "Then Zuir, you should rest early. If you have any other questions, you can ask me." Yichu also thought so. Since they were going to be together, some secrets that would be exposed sooner or later were dispensable. The secret chamber fell silent again. Only Jinriksu's footsteps echoed as she entered, her smile captivating. Leaving the secret chamber of the Crown Prince's residence, Yichu stood in the divine might space, his expression somewhat grave. Tang San was probably almost at Heavendao City by now. He wondered if a scene of father and son recognizing each other would occur. He also wondered if Tang Hao would come looking for trouble after learning of his easy victory. And then there was the issue of Xiao Wu and Xiao Lan's identities. These were all potential threats from Tang Hao. But Xiao Wu had been able to stay at Shrek Academy peacefully for so long, so Tang Hao hadn't exposed their identity. Yichu sighed. It seemed that once the Soul Hunter returned, he would have to closely follow Tang San and see if he could find Tang Hao. "I want to see if he's really still alive," Yichu muttered to himself. Composing himself, he disappeared into the divine might space. When he reappeared, he was in a dark corner of the inn where the Zhuhuan sisters were staying. Wishing everyone a pleasant life. QQ Group. 831,821,005. Chapter 310. A Gift Before Parting. The full moon was hidden behind a sea of clouds. Yichu arrived at Zhu King's door. The light inside was still on. Knock, knock. He gently knocked. Footsteps sounded from inside, and Zhu King's face appeared before him. Seeing Yichu, her expression softened. She gently took his arm. "Yichu, how are you?" "I'm fine," Yichu chuckled, putting his arm around her waist as they entered the room and sat down at the table. There were 2 teacups on the table. It seemed Zhu King had only recently moved in. Yichu didn't mention Jinriksu much in front of Zhu King, nor did he say much more. "Zhu King, what did your sister say?" "I've already taught her the hidden spirit secret technique and the mysterious heaven skill, and also given her a set of hidden weapons. Besides, my sister is setting off back tomorrow." Several clones appeared behind Zhu King, offering tea, massaging her shoulders, and rubbing her legs, a treatment that made Yichu a little uncomfortable. Lying in Yichu's arms, Zhu King found it quite nice. She just wanted to be held comfortably in his embrace. She could even have her clone give her a little nudge later. "Are we leaving tomorrow?" "Then let's go back tomorrow too." Tang Hao's sudden appearance made Yichu a little worried. He felt more at ease having Xiao Wu by his side. "Okay, whatever you say," Zhu King nodded silently. Their trip was originally to help her sister hunt souls, and now that the hunt was successfully completed, they naturally had to return home. "By the way, Yichu, could you help my sister?" Zhu King gently massaged Yichu's chest using her unique massage technique. "Anything I can help with." "No problem." Yichu rolled his eyes at Zhu King. Was he really that difficult to talk to? Did he have to use seduction? But the massage was indeed quite comfortable. Does that include settling her life's happiness? Zhu King's delicate skin flushed slightly, appearing translucent and exceptionally alluring, her graceful body pressed tightly against Yichu. "Huh?" Yichu, who was about to reach out and touch her thigh, suddenly found himself momentarily confused. "Zhu King, are you sure you're not joking?" Seeing that Yichu genuinely seemed to have no feelings for her sister, Zhu King breathed a sigh of relief, but thinking of her own sister, she felt a headache coming on. "You can be best friends with other women, why can't you continue being best friends with your own sister?" These were Zhu Ain's exact words. How could they be the same? Now, Zhu King could only hope that Zhu Ain was grasping at straws in desperation. Once she pulled her out of that quagmire, she would naturally give up this idea. If all else failed. Zhu King gritted her teeth, clearing the worst-case scenario from her mind. Leaning against Yichu's chest, calming herself down once more. Of course I was joking. Actually, I wanted you to protect her. The next morning, after having breakfast together, Yichu and the Zhuhuan sisters said they were leaving. Zhuhuan, along with her group of men, arrived at the exit of the border town. Xiaoqiu, Zuqing said, you have something to give me for self-defense? I wonder what it is. Zhuhuan released Zuqing's hand, tossed her neat short hair, and stared at Yichu with bright eyes. The hidden weapon Zuqing had given her last night was already enough to shock her. She wondered what Yichu had to give her. Yes, I do have something to give you for self-defense, sister. Seeing Zhuhuan's expectant gaze, Yichu stepped forward. Under her somewhat questioning gaze, she lowered her head slightly, getting within inches of Zhuhuan. Zhuhuan's face flushed, and she clenched her fists, trying to pull away. Sister, don't move. Zuqing grabbed Zhuhuan's arm. Zhuhuan froze, staring at her younger sister in shock. Did she disapprove of her relationship with him? Why was she now letting them act so intimately in front of each other? Looking at Yichu's face so close to hers, Zhuhuan's crimson lips trembled slightly, her eyes brimming with unspoken thoughts. Sister, don't misunderstand. Look into my eyes, don't resist. Yichu looked at her shy expression, feeling somewhat embarrassed, especially with Zuqing beside him. It was exciting, but it could easily lead to an accident. Zhuhuan realized what she had misunderstood. She pursed her red lips, her shy eyes meeting Yichu's gentle, azure gaze. Her heart suddenly raced, her breathing becoming heavy. Their breaths mingled. A flash of blood appeared in Yichu's eyes. He reminded her again, sister, don't resist. Zhuhuan trembled at the sight of that bright red blood, her response bordering on a moan. This made Zuqing frown. She wondered if her sister really had taken a liking to Yichu. Yichu also noticed the pink mist swirling in Zhuhuan's eyes, but fortunately, the time required for the heavenly harvest destiny wasn't long. In Zhuhuan's eyes, Yichu had planted an Amaterasu and a Kamui, near, respectively. This was the first time he had entrusted Kamui to someone else. After all, the Kamui space was his own stronghold. The only one who could enter it was Yichu's Kamui. In just a few breaths, Yichu not only stored the soul skill but also told her the specific effects. Then he put away the eternal kaleidoscope and took 2 steps back. If he continued to watch, he would lose control. Zhuhuan's lips were slightly open as she looked at Yichu, her eyes still filled with infatuation, her heart unable to calm down for a long time. She was also very surprised by Yichu's soul skill, which could actually be stored in her eyes. Sister, are you alright? Zuqing frowned and gave Yichu a helpless glare. She knew the power of those eyes. They could make a complete stranger rush towards them. It's alright. It seems I underestimated Xiaoqiu. I didn't expect his soul skill to be so amazing. Zhuhuan's pretty face flushed red as she looked at Yichu, as if she had made a decision. Although she didn't know why she felt such a shameful desire to dedicate herself to him, she didn't object to Yichu's excellence, which suited her taste. Breaking free from Zuqing's hand, Zhuhuan walked to Yichu. Sister, Yichu looked at her in confusion. Zhuhuan placed one hand on her hip and the other on Yichu's shoulder, her body curvaceous and alluring. Xiaoqiu, you've helped me so much, I don't know how to thank you enough. Helping you is what I should do. We're family, Yichu replied with a smile. Haha. Even so, I still have to show my appreciation. How about I tell you a secret? A secret? Yichu looked at her curiously, while also casting a probing glance at Zuqing. Zuqing shook her head. She didn't know what her sister wanted to say either. Zhuhuan glanced at her younger sister and chuckled. Xiaoqiu, come closer and I'll tell you something to everyone. Yichu looked at the lingering blush on her face and felt something was off about her. But this secret might be related to Davis and those evil spirit masters. Yichu hesitated for a moment, then leaned closer. A triumphant smile flashed in Zhuhuan's eyes as she whispered in Yichu's ear, her red lips moving slightly. Yichu could only vaguely hear a few sounds, but not clearly. Frowning, she leaned even closer. Zhuhuan's breath was almost touching her ear, and she could smell a faint fragrance. Yichu could finally hear her voice clearly. Xiaoqiu, this is a gift from your older sister before she leaves. Smack Yichu, Zuqing, wishing everyone a happy life. QQ Group. 831,821,005. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, It means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 311. Let's stay here for the night. The sudden wetness on his face startled Yichu, who froze on the spot. He stiffly turned to look at Zhu Xiuqing, his eyes filled with innocence. Zhu Huaiyan, seeing this amusing scene, smiled even more broadly on her shy face. She grabbed Yichu's collar, about to kiss him again. Xiuqing, help, Yichu cried out in alarm, pulling back while pleading for help from Zhu Xiuqing. Zhu Xiuqing, however, had already reacted. She angrily pulled Zhu Huaiyan away, shielding Yichu behind her. She frowned and said, "Sister, what are you doing?" Relieved that he hadn't fallen for her again, Yichu breathed a sigh of relief. Meeting Zhu Huaiyan's alluring gaze, his expression evasive, he sniffed the lingering dampness on his cheek. A mixture of embarrassment and relief washed over him. Noticing Yichu's expression, Zhu Huaiyan smile deepened. She lightly covered her red lips, giggling. Xiuqing, I just wanted to thank Xiao, that's all. Is that how you thank someone? He's my man. Zhu Xiuqing was indignant, biting her red lips and glaring at her. I couldn't resist. Xiao is so charming. He tasted good too. Zhu Huaiyan smiled apologetically. Her fragrant tongue lightly curled across her red lips, her eyes opening and closing, her long eyelashes seemingly beckoning to Yichu, her eyes alluring. This was clearly blatant seduction. Yichu quickly looked away. Sister. Don't go too far, Zhu Xiuqing gritted her teeth, glancing at Yichu beside her. Seeing that he was relatively well behaved, she looked at her sister again. Helpless against her, Zhu Xiuqing could only tell her to leave. Sister, shouldn't you be on your way, you brat? How dare you talk like that? Are you cursing your sister to die? Zhu Huaiyan glared at her with her phoenix eyes, not angry, but her words were reproachful. I didn't say that. Zhu Xiuqing looked at her coldly, her eyes filled with resentment and wariness. She subtly increased the pressure on her feet. Sister, please take care. Yichu also peeked out from behind Zhu Xiuqing at this moment. His expression was quite interesting. Zhu Xiuqing's high heels had unknowingly stepped on his toes. PFFT, Xiao, you're really heartless. That was my first kiss just now. Zhu Huaiyan took in the little exchange between the two, scoffed, biting her red lips, her expression mournful, as if she had truly been abandoned by Yichu. Sister, please don't joke around, Yichu said with an awkward laugh. Seeing Zhu Xiuqing's face growing darker and darker, Zhu Huaiyan didn't want to linger any longer. After all, having learned how Yichu used the soul skill he possessed, she already had a plan to steal a kiss. Alright, then I'll be going now, Xiuqing, Xiao, see you at the Soul Master competition. With that, Zhu Huaiyan mounted her horse, turned around, and waved to Yichu and Xiao. Goodbye, yes, goodbye, sister, Yichu waved back. Zhu Xiuqing just stared blankly, her brows furrowed the entire time. She knew her sister. They'd already kissed, she definitely wouldn't let it go. Watching Zhu Huaiyan lead her assassins away on horseback, Yichu breathed a sigh of relief. He'd been thoroughly teased by her these past few days. Seeing the unmoved Zhu Xiuqing, Yichu put his arm around her shoulder and whispered, Xiuqing, are you still thinking about what happened earlier? Don't worry, she probably did it on purpose. I know her. Zhu Xiuqing shook her head, interrupting Yichu. Her expression shifted. And she turned to look at Yichu, burying her face in his chest, her cheeks flushed. Yichu, how about we go back tomorrow, huh? Yichu was stunned, momentarily speechless. He looked puzzled. Why? Zhu Xiuqing looked up, not speaking, but offering her red lips. Unreservedly, with all her might. Long eyelashes fluttered, and her eyes slowly filled with a shimmering light. Her soft hand gently caressed Yichu's chest. Suddenly, her heart pounded rapidly, but Yichu suppressed it with his hand. However, this only backfired. After a long while, Zhu Xiuqing, her face flushed and her beauty tinged with allure, slumped into Yichu's arms. Zhu Xiuqing had caught him red-handed earlier. Yichu understood what she wanted to do. Yichu, let's stay here tonight. Zhu Xiuqing leaned on Yichu's shoulder, her voice soft and sweet. As she spoke, her soft, warm red lips moved against Yichu's neck. The clear, virginal fragrance was intoxicating, making him feel restless. Although Yichu could still resist now, She wasn't sure if Yichu would be able to resist temptation in the future, or if she herself would have the heart to let her sister jump into a fire pit. This future, Zhu Xiuqing didn't know how long it would take for it to arrive. In this matter, she could lag behind others, but she didn't want to lag behind her sister. Therefore, she decided that there was no time like the present. She would give herself completely to Yichu today, the man she had already chosen and knew intimately. This didn't conflict with her original intentions. Now, nothing could bind her anymore, she could confidently be Yichu's woman. Okay, Yichu reached out and stroked her hair, gently kissing her forehead, agreeing tenderly yet firmly. Of the women, Zhu Xiuqing was the most easily embarrassed, and Yichu understood how difficult it was for her to say such a thing. Though outwardly aloof, she was very gentle inside. Yichu gently put his arm around her waist. But, it's still broad daylight, where should we go? Isn't that your decision? Zhu Xiuqing rolled her eyes at Yichu, gently biting his shoulder, and said sweetly, I'll follow you wherever you go, then let's walk around this small town first, okay? Yichu didn't have a good place to go for the moment, so he took Zhu Xiuqing for a stroll around the town. However, they hadn't walked for long. Zhu Xiuqing then suggested going to the place where Yichu grew up. She had absolutely no desire to return to her own home, but she was still very curious about her partner's past. While Yichu accompanied Zhu Xiuqing to explore the town, on the other side, Tang San and his group, after traveling at full speed with little rest, finally arrived outside Heavendao City. Along the way, the Shrek Seven Devils and the royal fighting team mingled, running without complaint. Instead, they were all secretly competing. Without any incidents involving participating in spirit battles, they arrived at their destination several days faster than in the original story. With King Ming and the others leading the way, they didn't get lost. The group didn't enter the city but headed straight for the Heavendao Royal Academy outside the city. At noon, they arrived at the foot of the mountain leading to the Royal Academy. Wishing everyone a pleasant life. QQ Group. 831,821,005. Chapter 312 A Nest of True Phoenixes. Holy crap, Brother Dai, is this really the Heavendao Royal Academy? Looking at the scene before him, Mo Hongjin's voice was somewhat strange. Tang San and the others were also a little confused. Fatty, it must be here. Could it be that Senior Qin Ming and the others led us astray? Dai Mubei answered Ma Hongjin with his delicate fingers, sniffing his clothes as he spoke. Ever since his lingering health was permanently eliminated, he always expelled excess water from his body with great force, inevitably leaving him with a urine-like odor. Therefore, he had developed the good habit of taking flower petal baths, carrying sachets, and applying perfume. Brother Dai, I understand the logic, but this is a mountain. Mo Hongjin didn't mind Dai Mubei's delicate fingers almost touching his face, he was almost used to it. Haha, Qin Ming laughed heartily, not minding at all. As a fellow student from Shrek Academy, he could understand. After all, he was also surprised when he first saw it. Patiently explaining to Shrek and the others, Dean, this entire mountain belongs to the Heavendao Royal Academy, as do the forest behind it and the lake at the foot of the mountain on the left. They're all within the Academy's jurisdiction. We're about to enter the Academy's territory. Holy crap. This is too extravagant. Mo Hongjin's tiny eyes suddenly widened, causing Oslo and Yufeng from the Heavendao Academy to burst into laughter. Fatty. Can you stop making such a fuss? You've never seen anything like this before, Dai Mubei said sweetly, giving Ma Hongjin a sidelong glance. His Starluo Empire's Royal Academy was also quite prestigious, so he considered this scale normal. Ahem, Yu Zhigang had never been here before either. He glanced at the dumbfounded Flander, coughed twice, and then said leisurely, surrounded by mountains and water, it truly is a wonderful place. Flander and the other teachers also reacted, nodding in admiration. The scenery here was indeed beautiful, especially under the blazing sun. The view was even clearer. Bathed in golden sunlight, both the lake at the foot of the mountain and the towering peaks, teeming with diverse vegetation, exuded a sense of paradise. Located less than 20 kilometers from Xiandao City, the capital of the Xiandao Empire, the environment was exceptionally beautiful. The thought of this becoming their future home filled everyone with immense satisfaction. Oscar, in particular, beamed with the most delight. Just the Xiandao Royal Academy was this impressive? He wondered what his future home, the incredibly wealthy 7 treasure glazed tile school, would be like. His heart was already brimming with anticipation. Under Qin Ming's guidance, there were no instances of condescension or disrespect. The group entered the mountain peacefully. Tang San, too, was deeply moved by the grandeur of the mountain, truly appreciating the scale of the Xiandao Royal Academy. The stone steps were carved from white marble, each step adorned with a different spirit beast pattern, showcasing exquisite craftsmanship. Breathing in the fresh air, they felt as if they had entered a world of plants. Tang San, however, was the most deeply moved. Its internal energy, mixed with the aura of its blue-silver grass martial soul, was extremely active in this plant-filled mountain. Shrek Academy could no longer afford the training resources for its students. The lack of resources would easily cause these little monsters to fade into obscurity. One important reason Yu Xiaogang decided to bring the Shrek Seven Devils to the Heavendao Royal Academy was that, as a high-level Soul Master Academy founded by the Heavendao Empire's royal family, it boasted the best facilities in all aspects. Among these, the most important was the simulated training grounds for Soul Masters of various attributes. These simulated training grounds allowed Soul Masters to cultivate their martial souls in the most suitable environment. While not exactly inefficient, they provided significant support. For example, forests or areas with abundant vegetation were suitable for Tang San's blue-silver grass plant-type martial soul, while the atmosphere of the restaurant kitchen was suitable for Oscar's food-type martial soul. Generally speaking, the stronger and more potential a martial soul possessed, the greater the benefits of cultivating in a simulated environment. This was a level of infrastructure that Shrek Academy couldn't even dream of matching. Soon, the group arrived at the mountainside. They didn't see many students along the way. According to Qin Ming, most of them were resting in their dormitories at this time. Qin Ming looked somewhat helpless when he mentioned this. As the Empire's highest academy, most of the noble disciples who cultivated there didn't know how to cherish it, while the commoner geniuses had no way to pursue their studies. Yu Xianheng and the others had already left halfway. Qin Ming led the Shrek students to a separate group of bungalows. The walls were all bright yellow, looking extremely beautiful, and even the tops of the walls were covered with glazed tiles, which were particularly dazzling in the setting sun. "Teacher, juniors, please follow me." The group followed Qin Ming into a courtyard. Everything here had been cleaned up, and each person had a private room, as well as a separate large reception room. All the living supplies were brand new. The entire courtyard was like a separate entity, and the conditions in every aspect were far superior to those of Shrek Academy. With everything arranged, everyone gathered in the reception room. Qin Ming sat beside Flander and earnestly said to the teachers, "Dean, teachers, and fellow students, please rest here for a while. I'll discuss the arrangements for your joining with the Academy's higher-ups immediately." Flander said, "Qin Ming, we're not in a rush. You don't need to overwork yourself, please rest." Qin Ming looked at Flander, his eyes filled with deep emotion. "Dean Flander, without you and all the teachers, there would be no Qin Ming today. Now that I finally have a chance to repay you, how could I not do my best? Don't worry, I'll get it sorted out quickly. If everything goes smoothly, when I return, I'll invite all the teachers and fellow students to a nice place in Xiandao City to welcome you back." Xiao Wuji was very pleased and laughed heartily. "Qin Ming, then we'll be waiting for your good news. This student will do his best." Qin Ming smiled faintly, bid farewell to Flander and the others, and left the courtyard, heading straight towards the teaching committee. The Shrek group naturally wanted to settle down as soon as possible. Qin Ming also sincerely hoped that his juniors could surpass him. After Qin Ming left, they, weary from their journey, returned to their rooms to wash away the dust. Arriving in such a prosperous place, Mo Hongjin was very excited. On the way here, he had already seen many long, slender legs, exuding an air of nobility. This was not comparable to a phoenix in a grass nest. This was a nest of real phoenixes. Ma Hongjin even began to fantasize, his inner fire surging. If he could have a kiss with these beauties, his life would be complete. After showering, Ma Hongjin immediately went to Daimyo Bei's door and knocked loudly. Boss Dai, let's go out and have some fun." "What's all the noise?" a shrill voice rang out, startling Ma Hongjin. Subconsciously, he still thought Daimyo Bei was as dashing as ever, so he immediately thought of him. "Snap, fatty, what do you want?" Daimyo Bei was wrapped in a bath towel, a flower petal draped over his shoulder, his long golden hair flowing down his back. A faint fragrance wafted towards Ma Hongjin, leaving him somewhat bewildered. Wishing everyone a happy life. QQ Group. 831,821,005. Chapter 313 This is a provocation against the Empire. Looking at the increasingly androgynous Daimyo before him, Mo Hongjin swallowed hard, not daring to reveal his intention to have him go fishing for a real phoenix. Otherwise, if he provoked Daimyo, he'd be in deep trouble. He could only chuckle awkwardly. Boss Dai, I'm just getting a little bored. There's still so much time left. How about we go out and familiarize ourselves with the place? See how good the students are. Daimyo raised an eyebrow, his somewhat gloomy eyes giving Ma Hongjin a quick glance. He knew Ma Hongjin's intentions perfectly well. If Xiao-san and the others go, I have no objection. With that, Daimyo closed the door, applying a touch of rouge to his eternal wound. Alright, Boss Dai, hurry up and get dressed. I'm going to find third brother. Mo Hongjin shouted happily at the door, then quickly ran to Tang-san and Oscar's door and knocked. Tang-san agreed. Oscar, being a support-type soul master, was exhausted from running for so long and didn't follow. The three of them left the courtyard together without saying goodbye to Flander and the others. The main campus of the Heaven-Douluo Royal Academy was entirely composed of single-story buildings, giving it the feel of a fortress. Solemn and dignified. Walking along the path, the buildings on both sides stood side by side. It was far more prosperous than Shrek Academy, but this was only what Tang-san and Daimyo noticed. Ma Hongjin, on the other hand, was mainly looking at legs and faces. A lewd smile flashed across his face from time to time, frequently attracting disgusted glances from some female students. Hey fatty, can you tone it down a bit? Walking with you is an embarrassment to us. Daimyo frowned, taking a few steps back, not wanting to get too close to him. Tang-san nodded in agreement. Damn it, Boss Dai, third brother, I've been really restrained, okay? I haven't had time to calm myself down these past few days of traveling. I'm feeling awful. Mo Hongjin's expression was exaggerated, his tone strange, and his beady eyes kept darting around at the female students. HMPH, Daimyo snorted coldly, unable to control his hatred upon hearing this. Boss Dai, fatty, I think we should go check out that simulated training ground, Tang-san suggested at this moment. For him, what he wanted more right now was to improve his strength. Only then could he find his father and take back everything that belonged to him. Make Yachu kneel before him and repent. Little San's suggestion is good. Fatty, are you going? Yes, I'm going. Mo Hongjin raised his hand without hesitation. He still felt it was safer to go with a group. After all, he knew his lewd gaze was likely to attract trouble. But with Daimyo and Tang-san around, it was different. They were his good older brothers. The three didn't know the way, and as they walked, they heard the sounds of fighting coming from a small grove of trees, so they plunged in. In the middle of the grove was a clearing. In the center of the clearing was a small arena. Two people were sparring on it, with a few scattered students watching. This was the exclusive training ground for the second team of the Heaven-Douluo Royal Academy. Two soul masters. Mo Hongjin was somewhat surprised, watching the clash between the tiger and the wolf on the arena. Daimyo curled his lip in disdain. Fatty, what's so surprising about that? How old are they? They've only just broken through to Soul Master. And their fighting power is utterly pathetic. Boss Dai's right. It seems the Royal Dao team we've faced is the best among them. Tang-san couldn't help but nod. Perhaps this was a common problem among nobles. Most of them avoided fighting like the plague. On the clearing beside the arena, a young man was surrounded by guards. He had dazzling reddish-brown hair, an arrogant expression, and a sickly pale complexion. If Yuichi were here, he would definitely recognize this person. He is none other than the fourth prince of the empire, Zhu Beng. In the past, Zhu Beng had no interest in the Soul Master competition, but things are different now. He now has the confidence to go head-to-head with Zhu King. Therefore, he needs to have some impressive results. And naturally, it's crucial to cultivate a team that can achieve good rankings in the Soul Master competition. With one team guaranteed a spot, only the second team has any real strength. Although the second team's strength disappointed him somewhat, it doesn't matter. He has a remedy to overdraw potential and force growth. Sensing someone approaching, Zhu Beng waved his hand, and an 18 or 19-year-old student stepped forward. Halt! Who are you? Daimyo frowned. The three exchanged glances, and Tang-san stepped forward. He said neither humbly nor arrogantly, "We are students from Shrek Academy, here specifically for exchange and learning." Shrek Academy. The student frowned, sizing up Tang-san and the others, then looking at their attire, a hint of disdain immediately appearing on his face. What is that? Never heard of it before. Get lost, you bunch of bumpkins. Don't disturb our training. Having been around Zhu Bang for so long, he was used to being arrogant and domineering, speaking with no respect whatsoever. He simply waved his hand to send Tang San and the others away. What did you say? Daimyo Bei shouted, his figure flashing as he stood in front of the student. A chilling aura instantly erupted. He had never heard anyone insult him and Shrek Academy like this, with such a contemptuous tone. Tang San's eyes also turned cold. He wouldn't tolerate his sect being insulted. Daimyo Bei's roar caused the sparring on the distant arena to stop, and everyone turned to look. Let's go see. Zhu Bang frowned, lifted his buttocks, and the person acting as a table and chair beneath him quickly stood up and walked towards Tang San. Daimyo Bei's sudden outburst caused the student to take a few steps back, and when he reacted, he was both shocked and furious. He insulted again. Damn it! Where did this dead eunuch come from? You scared me half to death. Knowing he was surrounded by people, he was completely oblivious to Daimyo Bei's murderous gaze. Get lost or I'll make my move. You're asking for death, Daimyo Bei roared furiously. Boss Dai, don't be impulsive. Ma Hongjin, seeing their overwhelming numbers, naturally became somewhat intimidated. Unfortunately, Daimyo Bei had already lost her mind. Bang! He kicked the young man who had spoken, sending him flying, and then activated his martial soul. He slammed into Zhu Bang. Zhu Bang groaned, a flash of bloodlust in his eyes, his pale face filled with gloom. It had been a long time since anyone dared to hit his dog. If it weren't for his current cultivation level, that blow would have knocked him to the ground. Suddenly, things changed. With Zhu Bang by their side and members of the royal fighting team too, these nobles didn't panic. They never expected that the other party would dare to make a move right in front of their academy. Several men with a modicum of spirit immediately activated their martial souls. Who are you? Why are you attacking him? He deserves it, Daimyo Bei said coldly. Deserves it? Zhu Bang sneered, barely suppressing his killing intent. You dare cause trouble at our Heaven-Da Royal Academy. This is a provocation against the Empire. He spoke rudely first. Tang San looked at the leader of the group. He could clearly feel the faint killing intent emanating from him. They couldn't afford to bear the weight of accusing the Empire of such a serious offense. Have a nice day. QQ Group. 831,821,005. Chapter 314. You're in my private world. Insolent words. Zhu Bang raised an eyebrow, disdainfully raising his head, his nostrils flaring upwards, a habit ingrained in him over the years, giving him the air of a spoiled brat. He looked disdainfully at Daimyo Bei and the others, mockingly saying, although I don't know what he said before, is it wrong to say you're a eunuch? As he spoke, Zhu Bang ignored Daimyo Bei's furious glare, shifting his gaze to his injury, a cold smile playing on his lips. He chuckled, why don't you take it off and let us see? Haha. Seeing the group of people laughing at his injury, Daimyo Bei couldn't bear it any longer. You're all courting death. He shoved aside Ma Hongjin, who was blocking his way, and charged forward with a furious roar. HMPH. Everyone, attack! Seeing Daimyo Bei charging, Zhu Bang didn't hold back, immediately waving his hand for his men to swarm him. However, even with this order, most people quickly retreated, fearing being caught in the crossfire. Even the few students who had awakened their martial souls hesitated upon seeing Daimyo Bei's 3 gleaming soul rings and his imposing aura. Daimyo Bei, with his vast combat experience, unleashed a barrage of attacks on anyone he encountered, fueled by his rage. Ma Hongjin was stunned by the scene. Third brother, when did Boss Dai become so fierce? There are several soul masters among them. Tang San shook his head. It's not that Boss Dai has become stronger, it's that they're too weak. Possessing cultivation but lacking combat experience, he, who had intended to join the fight, stood still to support Daimyo Bei. Even a cornered soul master would bite. Whenever Daimyo Bei was about to be hit, Tang San would use blue-silver entanglement to assist. His tiger-like form unfolded, blue-silver entanglement accompanying him. Unable to reveal his cultivation, Zhu Bang could only stand behind with a grim expression, watching the students fall one by one. Useless. All of you are useless. Want me to take my pants off for you to see? I'll strip you down in a minute. Daimyo Bei used his tiger paw to push people away, constantly approaching Zhu Bang. You dare, you'll see if I dare. Zhu Bang gritted his teeth, his fists clenched. If he were really stripped of his pants in public, what would his father and ministers, who had finally begun to change their opinion of him, think of him? This was absolutely unacceptable. Just as Zhu Bang was about to reveal even a little of his cultivation, a powerful voice suddenly rang out. What's going on? Why is it so noisy? A figure quickly appeared from the shady path in the woods, dressed in a silver outfit, looking about the same age as Flander, with a face like a silver plate, thick eyebrows and big eyes, his hands behind his back. He looked somewhat like a master. Teacher's son. Zhu Bang's expression relaxed slightly, and he finally felt relieved. His strength was saved, and his pants were safe. As soon as they saw their teacher, some students scrambled to him to complain. Teacher's son, they actually dared to cause trouble here. They even hide us. You must stand up for us. Teacher's son frowned deeply as he looked at his students, who were behaving like stray dogs. All right. Look at the state you're in front of outsiders. He didn't reprimand his students further, instead turning his gaze towards Tang San and his group. Who are you? Since the other party was a teacher, Dai Mubei had already stopped, and Tang San stepped forward. Bowing slightly. Teacher, we are from Shrek Academy. We wanted to visit, but these students from your academy insulted us, which led to this conflict. Teacher's son was momentarily stunned, then sized up Dai Mubei again. To be able to easily defeat his students like a tiger among sheep in a group with soul masters, even if his students lacked practical experience, the opponent's strength was already quite evident. Sun Buai nodded slightly. So you are the young geniuses Teacher Qin Ming mentioned. Indeed, quite impressive. Teacher knows us. Tang San looked surprised. Haha. I just came from the education committee. Teacher Qin Ming has already conveyed your requests to the 3 committee members. I suppose there should be a result by now. Sun Buayu's expression immediately became friendly. After all, they would be his students in the future, and good prospects at that. Alright, let's leave it at that. You should hurry back. Teacher Qin Ming might already be going to inform you. I see. Tang San also noticed the change in the other party's attitude. It seemed that Shrek Academy also took this matter quite seriously. Seeing that the other party didn't mention the incident of their students being beaten, and stood there with a composed air, Tang San was pleased. After all, he didn't want to apologize. The fault wasn't theirs, but the other party's. Then, Teacher's son, we'll take our leave, okay? Sun Buai nodded. Tang San immediately left with Dai Mubei and the other. Sun Buayu stood there, glancing at Zhu Bang. He didn't say much to Zhu Bang in his current state. He glared at his students. Aren't you going to train? You got defeated by a soul master. Have you no shame? Watching the students disperse, Sun Buayu snorted coldly and turned to leave. Shrek Academy. Zhu Bang stood there, his face still gloomy, his eyes filled with resentment. No one could escape unscathed after offending him. You. Go and investigate what they're doing here. This grudge must be avenged. Zhu Bang casually assigned someone. Your Highness, isn't this inappropriate? A student nearby tentatively said. He wasn't oblivious to Sun Buayu's attitude towards Tang San and the others. Inappropriate? What's inappropriate? The future empire is all decided by this prince. If I say it's okay, it's okay. A hint of arrogance flashed in Zhu Bang's eyes, his ambition boundless. When Tang San and the others returned to their residence, they indeed saw Qin Ming and Flander talking. The academy's higher-ups have agreed to their demands. The specifics will be discussed at the education committee tonight. Tang San and the others truthfully recounted their experience. Although Yu Xiaogang criticized them a bit, Qin Ming said it was nothing serious. Night fell. As Tang San and the others headed to the banquet, in Biao's village, Yi Chu and Zhu Xiuqing finished dinner at Old Zhang's house and came out. The two were holding hands, strolling along the country lane, enjoying the evening breeze. Zhu Xiuqing had a gentle smile on her lips. She frequently glanced at Yi Chu in the darkness, a sweet feeling lingering in the air. She cherished this peaceful life, something she had longed for countless days and nights. Seeing Yi Chu still rubbing his head, she remembered how old Zhang had disciplined him. Zhu Xiuqing smiled even more brightly, hugging Yi Chu's arm and leaning against his shoulder, gently blowing warm air on him, her eyes filled with a hint of resentment. Yi Chu, aren't you going to explain to me about that girl named Zhu Ke? When Yi Chu brought Zhu Xiuqing to the village chief's house, old man Zhang couldn't hold back any longer. They were all very simple and honest people, and they strongly condemned Yi Chu's behavior of frequently bringing different girls home, while also expressing their condolences to Zhu Xiuqing. Of course, Zhu Xiuqing knew about Zhu Ke. Yi Chu didn't say much about apologizing. The matter was already settled, and any further apologies would seem pale and powerless. He gently leaned his head against Zhu's Huking and slowly revealed Zhu Kei's identity. Zhu Kei, she is the princess of the empire, the princess of the Xiandao Empire. Zhu's Huking was also very surprised, not expecting Yichu to have made a move on the princess of the empire. Yes, a silly girl. Yichu couldn't help but smile as he recalled her embarrassed look when she was caught stealing a kiss from him. Did you think of something interesting? Can you tell me? Zhu's Huking looked at Yichu curiously. No, tonight is just the two of us, wishing everyone a happy life. QQ Group. 831,821,005. Chapter 315 The Feeling of Heart-to-Heart Communication. Yichu held Zhu's Huking's hand. They watched children playing on the grass and fireflies flitting through the bushes. They walked and stopped along the way, finally arriving at the long-lost stone house. Yichu and Zhu's Huking had returned that afternoon to clean it up. They opened the door and hung up the glass lamp they had bought. Yichu, go wash up first, I'll make the bed. Zhu's Huking's face was flushed, her eyes filled with anticipation and joy. Okay, thank you for your trouble. Yichu pulled her into his arms and gently kissed her forehead. He had originally planned to wash together, but this procedure was the same after finishing their business. Okay, you go ahead. Noticing his restless, hot hands, Zhu's Huking's pretty face flushed red. She glared at him and pushed him away. Watching his back, her body felt hot, and her heart beat faster. She smiled slightly, her red lips pursed. She took out the bedding and pillow she had bought that afternoon from her soul tool. She walked towards the bed and began preparing. After laying it out, she took out a long white cloth and laid it across the middle of the bed. Gently stroking it, her beautiful face flushed. From the bathroom, separated by a curtain, came Yichu's voice. Zhu Qing, are you done? Zhu Qing was stunned for a moment, then spat lightly. She naturally knew what Yichu was up to. She bit her red lips and didn't answer. She just stood up. Zhu Qing, Yichu called again. He still felt a bit lonely while washing, so he changed his mind. This procedure wasn't something that couldn't be repeated. Zhu Qing didn't reply, but just stood up, blushing as she unbuttoned her leather coat. A fair and translucent porcelain-like body, with a touch of ethereal beauty, slowly walked towards the curtain. Zhu Qing, why don't you come over? Yichu hadn't finished speaking when he heard some footsteps. Turning around, he experienced a feeling of being confided in. Zhu's Huking embraced him. She never refused Yichu, especially since they had already started taking turns rubbing his back. Yichu placed his hand on her slender waist, smooth as porcelain, gentle as water. Their faces were as beautiful as peach blossoms. Just as Yichu and Zhu Huking were playing in the water, at the Heavendao Royal Academy, Qinming had already led the Shrek Academy group on their way. The Heavendao Royal Academy's academic committee was located in the center of the main campus, the largest building in the entire campus. Although it was a single-story building, its highest point was 10 meters high, giving it a somewhat spirit hall-like feel. Among the group, Yu Xianheng also came along. He still wanted Yu Xianheng to teach him to become stronger. Only by becoming stronger could he get everything he wanted, defeat Yichu and seize the position of clan leader. Upon arriving at the academic committee, they naturally didn't have the honor of being greeted at the entrance by 3 committee members, as in the original story. Shrek Academy, with Tang San and the others, wasn't qualified yet. However, Flander and the others dared not voice any objections, as they would still be dependent on them in the future. Entering the education committee building, they found it far from the luxurious setting they had imagined. On the contrary, the office and residence of these 3 soldados were remarkably simple, furnished only with essential items and a few simple green plants. Following Qinming, they arrived at the reception hall. Low tables with single seats and fruit platters were set around the hall. 3 elderly men in black robes sat at the head of the table. Their robes, embroidered with strange patterns and gold thread, were distributed by the Spirit Hall and were exclusive to soldados, a red ceremonial robe second only to title Dalos. It was generally used for extremely important and solemn occasions, or when facing opponents of equal strength. To be able to wear such a robe was already a sign of great importance. Although the 3 elderly men were simply sitting there, they gave off a very special feeling, as if they were the core of the Heavendao Royal Academy's main campus, and even the entire academy. Even with gentle smiles on their faces, the special aura of power they possessed could not be concealed. Even if Flander was arrogant, he had to lower his head to show respect to a powerhouse of this caliber. Without Qinming needing to speak, Flander, who had roamed the continent for many years, knew how to greet them. He immediately quickened his pace and stepped forward. When he stopped, his hands were already crossed over his shoulders. He bowed slightly, offering a junior's greeting. Shrek Academy, Flander. Martial Soul, Catwalk, Level 78, 7 Ring Battle Soul Saint of Agility Attack Type, Greetings. 3 seniors, the elder in the middle of the 3 men laughed heartily, raised his hand in a gesture of respect, and said, Dean Flander, there's no need for such formalities. We've long admired the name of the four-eyed Catwalk. It is an honor for our academy to have the teachers of Monster Academy here. After a few polite words, the elder began to introduce himself. I am the chief of the Academic Affairs Committee, Meng Shenji. My martial soul is Black Demon, and I am a level 86, 8 Ring Battle Soul Douluo of the Control type. Let me introduce you. As he spoke, Meng Shenji pointed to the old man on his left, saying, This is the second in command of the Academy's Academic Affairs Committee, Bai Baoshan, a Battle Soul Douluo. His martial soul is Heavenly Star Furnace, and he is a level 85, 8 Ring Battle Soul Douluo of the Defense type. Bai Baoshan's physique was the opposite of Meng Shenji's. Meng Shenji was very thin, while Bai Baoshan was short but extremely fat, with a standard height of 4 feet and a waist circumference of 4 feet. P.S. Inexplicably reminds me of a certain bandit. Bai Baoshan always wore a gentle smile, his fat jiggling with each laugh. Hearing Meng Shenji introduce him, he smiled and nodded at Flander. Meng Shenji then pointed to the last old man and said, This is Zilin, a soul Douluo with a heavenly green vine martial soul, a level 83, 8 ringed control type soul Douluo. Among these 3 high-ranking members of the Education Committee, Zilin appeared the most normal, with an ordinary appearance. Only the occasional bright glint in his eyes gave him a slightly special aura. Even though he was prepared, Flander was still shocked. 2 of the 3 soul Douluos were known as the strongest control-type warriors in one-on-one combat. Flander quickly introduced the teachers of Shrek Academy. As for Tang San and the others, since they were all students, he didn't need to say much. Meng Shenji smiled and said, Please don't be shy, everyone. Make yourselves at home. Please, take your seats. Everyone took their seats according to their status as guests and hosts. Since there weren't many people from Shrek Academy, Ma Hongjin and the others were all given seats. At this moment, Tang San and the others were somewhat excited. After all, sitting in front of them were 3 Soul Douluo level powerhouses. In the entire Soul Master world, Soul Masters who can cultivate to this level are extremely rare, and each of them possesses immense power. Even if they cannot destroy the heavens and the earth, they can certainly traverse armies with ease. Ma Hongjin, however, had already set his sights on the fruit on the table. They hadn't eaten much that evening. Hongjin, Flander glared at his beloved disciple. He couldn't afford to act recklessly in this situation. Haha, it's alright, everyone can have some refreshments first. Meng Shenji noticed this and had his servant bring tea and refreshments, smiling slightly. I heard from Qin Ming that these children defeated our academy's royal fighting team. I'm truly astonished. Qin Ming's achievements have already greatly surprised me, but I never expected your academy to cultivate so many outstanding geniuses. Flander gave a bitter smile and said, Shrek Academy no longer exists, and the other students have already dropped out. We are now like a defeated army. Wishing everyone a pleasant life. QQ Group. 831,821,005. Chapter 316 You are not welcome here. Seeing Flander and the others looking like defeated roosters, Meng Shenji stroked his beard and said seriously, Haha, it's alright. These children's achievements are certainly inseparable from the earnest guidance of your teachers. You don't need to belittle yourselves. Their achievements, as well as the achievements of previous graduates of Shrek Academy, all belong to Shrek. That's right. Zilin Soul Douluo, one of the 3 members of the teaching committee, chimed in, stating the position. Qin Ming has already made it very clear to us. It is our honor that you have joined our academy. We will not restrict your freedom. Please feel free to ask if you need anything. As long as it is within my authority, we can discuss it. Flander, after all, was a level 70 plus powerhouse, and naturally could see the sincerity shown by these 3 Soul Douluos. It was not feigned, which showed how eager they were to recruit talent. They even chose to completely trust Qin Ming without any testing. But he still had some self-awareness. The 3 education commissioners are too kind. We dare not take credit for these children's abilities. Their talents are exceptional. Hearing this, Yu Zhigang frowned. Flander continued, The reason we chose to come to the Royal Academy is that we don't want to bury these children. As the dean, I sincerely hope that they will all become titled Douluos in the future and achieve far more than I have." As he spoke, there was no trace of cunning in Flanders' eyes. Sincerity shone through. The Shrek group also noticed that at this moment, Flanders seemed to have aged even more, and his figure looked somewhat lonely. His Shrek Academy was completely gone. Seeing this scene, a smile finally appeared on Grandmaster's face. His plan had finally come to fruition. "Flander, oh Flander, I hope you won't blame me. If it weren't for Xiao-san and the others, why would I have brought you here? No matter what happened before, in my heart, you will always be my elder brother." Hearing this, Meng Shenji nodded to Flander. As a teacher, strength and knowledge alone weren't enough, professional ethics were also crucial. "Dean Flander, you can rest assured. The three of us here assure you we will do our utmost to provide these children with the best training facilities." Flander stood up and bowed to the three Douluos. "Thank you, seniors, haha, good." Meng Shenji clapped his hands and laughed. "Then this matter is settled. Teacher Qin, please make the arrangements later." Qin Ming quickly nodded in agreement. Yu Xianheng, standing nearby, was also overjoyed. His uncle, the strongest theoretical master, was about to become his teacher. "In that case, let's begin the feast." Just as the Shrek Academy students were watching the dishes being served, footsteps suddenly sounded outside. It sounded like three people. "A feast? This prince sees you have no chance." The voice came from outside before the people even arrived, startling Tang San, Daimyo Bei, and the other two. Daimyo Bei and Tang San exchanged a glance, a sense of foreboding washing over them. They hadn't expected their opponent to be a prince of the empire. Their expressions caught the attention of Yu Xiaogang, Flander, and the others, who also felt a sense of unease and their expressions grew more serious. Meng Shenji paused, recognizing the voice. As the footsteps drew closer, he also sensed a sharp edge. The three exchanged a glance, their eyes flashing with seriousness. They were well aware of Zhu Bang's immense power in the court. Furthermore, they were all part of the Crown Prince's faction. Not daring to be negligent, they quickly stood up and went to greet him. Before they could even leave their seats, three people entered. One of them was the very man Daimyo Bei had threatened to strip. However, he was now wearing a long, golden robe embroidered with snakes and pythons, and he glared at Shrek and the others with venomous resentment. Walking in the middle was an elderly man in magnificent robes, dressed in a large yellow robe embroidered with floral patterns. His white hair was neatly combed back. He was of medium build, slightly overweight, and his small eyes disrupted the overall harmony of his features. He stood with his hands behind his back. Even facing the three Douluo instructors, he showed no respect whatsoever, instead exuding an air of superiority. His voice was loud and clear, full of confidence, carrying a hint of arrogance. "Chief Meng Shenji, these people are not welcome at our Royal Academy." Meng Shenji frowned, bowed slightly to the elderly man in magnificent robes, and asked, "I wonder what Prince Zuxing's intention is." Although they were speaking to Zuxing, the three instructors' gazes were all fixed on another person. Standing to Zuxing's right was a middle-aged man with a wrinkle-free face, but a cross-shaped scar on his left forehead. His hair was black and white, neatly combed straight. He wore a long black robe, his strong body standing ramrod straight. From the moment he entered, he didn't glance at anyone else, only staring intently at the three committee members. His sharp aura was terrifying. He was arrogant and showed no humility or politeness. "Chief Meng, since you didn't hear me clearly, I'll repeat myself. Heaven Dao Royal Academy doesn't welcome trash like this." Zhu Xing glanced at Shrek and the others, her hands behind her back, a disdainful sneer on her face. "That's right, what Shrek Academy? Never even heard of it. These third-rate, unknown guys don't deserve to sit here." Zhu Bang also looked arrogantly at Daimyo Bei. "Besides, there's a dead eunuch here." Bang! "Damn it, what did you say, Boss Dai?" Upon hearing this, Daimyo Bei immediately reacted, slamming his fist on the table and standing up, but fortunately Tang San held him down. The other members of Shrek Academy were also furious. Xiao Wuji, standing next to Flander, was about to lash out, but was forcibly restrained by Flander, whose face was grim. Meng Shenji's expression changed. "Your Highness, Prince Zhu Bang, you can't say that. Shrek Academy has cultivated countless outstanding soul masters. Our teacher, Teacher Qin, is a graduate of Shrek Academy." "Enough. Your nonsense is really annoying." Before Meng Shenji could finish speaking, the sharp-looking man with the black and white hair interrupted him. His gaze swept over the Shrek group, scrutinizing them, and he said arrogantly, "What kind of bullshit geniuses are you? Do you think I have to use my power to get out of here?" His cold voice sent chills down everyone's spine. A sudden breeze made their faces sting. As soon as he finished speaking, the man released his martial soul. A simple, unadorned, jet-black 3-foot-long sword suddenly hovered above his head, his black and white hair standing on end. Soul rings spread out from his feet in circles: yellow, yellow, purple, purple, black, 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 black. 9 spirit rings spiraled upwards, their dazzling light making the entire hall radiant. Countless fine sword blades forced everyone to release their spirit power to defend themselves. The expressions of the Shrek Academy students changed. The 3 faculty members also changed. They hadn't expected that besides the evil blood Douluo, another title Douluo would appear besides Zubang. Although judging from his aura, he had only just broken through to the title Douluo level, the gap between each level was ever growing. Facing a title Douluo, they couldn't say for sure they could defeat him. Haha. How about it? Why don't you all get lost? Do you really want His Majesty Wuchang to make a move? Zubang burst into laughter, the feeling of such arrogance intoxicating him. He had been suppressed for too long, and his mind had become twisted. Looking at the 4th Prince Zubang, who was staring intently at Dime Yubei with hatred in his eyes, the 3 faculty members couldn't help but sigh inwardly. But they still wanted to try. Meng Shenji angrily said, "Your Highness, don't go too far. What you're doing is against the rules." "How is it against the rules?" "Don't forget, the Academy belongs to the royal family. As the direct administrator, I have the authority to make personnel decisions. If you're dissatisfied, you can complain to His Majesty," Prince Zuxing said calmly, completely disregarding him. "3 old men, stop with the nonsense. If you're not satisfied, you can fight me. I just broke through and need a few whetstones," Mo Wuchang said calmly, but his martial spirit subtly released pressure, crushing down on everyone. Wishing everyone a happy life. QQ Group. 831,821,005. Chapter 317. Soul Rings flying wildly in the reception hall. A whetstone? The 3 men, Meng Shenji and his companions, looked grim. Even though they hadn't been involved in the Soul Master world for many years and rarely fought, those who could become Soul Douluos were no ordinary people. They weren't people to be trifled with. The atmosphere immediately became tense. Meng Shenji coldly said, "Since you're so confident, then we 3 old fogies will experience your superior skills." As soon as he finished speaking, Bai Baoshan, the second in command, stared at the title Douluo with 9 shining rings on his body. He and Zhilin, another in command, came to stand behind Meng Shenji. With everything ready, the 3 of them simultaneously released their powerful auras. Meng Shenji's body instantly became illusory, transforming into pitch-black phantom. Thick black mist rose from his feet, and 8 soul rings, 2 yellow, 3 purple, and 3 black, bloomed simultaneously. A gleaming golden cauldron appeared in the palm of Bai Baoshan, the heavenly star furnace Soul Douluo, adorned with 7 silver stars that shimmered brightly, emanating a solid and heavy aura. His soul ring configuration was identical to Meng Shenji's. Behind Zhilin, the azure vine Soul Douluo, only a single azure vine appeared, but its color was as lustrous as jade. 8 soul rings rose, and a faint azure aura emanated from his body, permeating his entire being. Flanders' face was grim. To stay and fight for a future for his brothers and fellow students, he had to make sacrifices. He immediately unleashed his full soul power, and a cat owl flew out from his body, spreading its wings above his head. The Shrek Academy group also humbly requests your Majesty's guidance. Xiao Wuji was stunned for a moment, then his blood boiled. Haha. Flander, good, good. I didn't expect you to be so resolute. Then I'll risk my life to accompany you. Roar. The roar of a savage bear echoed throughout the hall, as a massive, powerful Vajra bear roared behind him. The other members of Shrek Academy also stood up abruptly. Li Yusong, Lu Kibin, Xiao Xin, and even Qin Ming summoned their martial souls. Xiao Xin suddenly protected Oscar beside him. This was his beloved disciple. Yu Shai and Hang stood rooted to the spot, somewhat at a loss. In an instant, the entire hall was ablaze with color and light. The confrontation between 3 soul Douluos, several soul saints, soul emperors, and a title Douluo made the atmosphere in the entire education committee hall extremely tense. The air seemed to be pressed into dust. Yu Zhigang looked at the scene before him. His expression changed drastically. It all happened in an instant. He didn't even have the chance to stop it. That was a title Douluo. He wasn't here to die. He immediately roared, "Flander! What are you doing?" But immediately, he couldn't speak. It was as if fate had choked him. In the powerful energy flowing through the hall, he was no match for Tang San and the others. He gritted his teeth, refusing to kneel down. The title Douluo, whom Zubang called His Majesty Wu Chang, unleashed his aura, a cold smile appearing on his usually impassive face. "Since you're determined to die, then I won't be polite with your blood." He licked his dark lips, the terrifying killing intent sending chills down Zubang and his companion's spine. A great battle seemed imminent. Zhu Xing and his companion finally realized that if things escalated, they wouldn't fare well either. 3 education committee members, what are you doing? Are you going to fight His Majesty for the sake of outsiders? Prince Zhu Xing roared, his voice trembling with fear. Zhu Bang panicked, quickly turning to Mo Wuchang and whispering, "Your Majesty, don't be impulsive. We can't ruin His Majesty Zhu's grand plan." These 3 education committee members were all level 80 or higher experts, highly valued by his father. If a fight broke out and something went wrong, he couldn't bear the loss of even 1 or 2 of them. HMPH. Zhu Xing, you're going your own way. After today, the 3 of us will definitely go before His Majesty and submit a memorial impeaching you, so that His Majesty can judge the matter. Meng Shenji was truly enraged, even abandoning his usual respectful address. He had a very good impression of the Shrek Academy students. If they could cultivate Qin Ming, they must have some skills. Now, seeing the cooperation that would greatly benefit the Heaven Dower Royal Academy about to vanish, how could he not be angry? Moreover, for him, the current situation was not just about the fate of the Shrek Academy students, but also about the face of the 3 Soul Daolus. HMPH, seeing that they actually wanted to fight him to the end, and that there was even a Soul Emperor mixed in, Mo Wuchang snorted coldly, determined to teach them a lesson. His soul power leaked out, and the pressure on those around him was slowly increasing. Under his special care, Zhu Xing's body remained straight, leaning back, with her head held high. A third brother, overwhelmed by the terrifying pressure and the sharp sword, Mo Hongjin was the first to succumb, blood even appearing on his face. Tang San immediately intervened. Dozens of arm-thick blue-silver grasses swirled around Mo Hongjin, relieving his pressure. Daimyo Bei's face was also extremely grim, like a tiger ready to devour its prey, his eyes fixed on Zhu Bang. Seeing Tang San, Zhu Xing's eyes flashed with shrewdness, a cold smile playing on her lips. PFFT, Yu Zhiagang's legs suddenly went weak, his soul power collapsing instantly, his body limp, about to collapse. Teacher, Tang San was shocked, but powerless to help. His eyes were filled with endless fear as he looked at Mo Wuchang, unable even to muster any killing intent. It was simply too powerful. Yu Zhiagang groaned again. His entire body trembled violently, blood flowing from his mouth and nose, and he silently collapsed to the ground, motionless. Just as Tang San was frantic with worry, a long, azure vine shot out like lightning, wrapping around Yu Zhiagang's waist and forcibly pulling him back. It was the azure vine Soul Daoluo, Zilin, who had made his move. A flash of azure light entered Yu Zhiagang's body, and Yu Zhiagang awoke within its embrace. His eyes were filled with terror. In that brief moment, he had only felt a chill run through his body, and then he knew nothing more. Swish! Zilin dared not linger. Tang San and the other students were successively pulled behind the 3 instructors. "Your Excellency, Zhu Xing, don't go too far," Meng Shenji said angrily, his face grim. He clearly hadn't expected him to attack a junior. Prince Zhu Xing chuckled lightly and said calmly, "Chief Meng Shenji, how have I gone too far? I just don't want you to be fooled by these trash." As he spoke, Zhu Xing pointed at Tang San. "Look at the people you're recruiting. Even though I don't know much about this, how can someone with only a white third ring be called a genius?" "You?" Meng Shenji was so angry his hair stood on end, speechless. Qin Ming had explained this to them before. Wishing everyone a happy life. QQ Group. 831,821,005. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 318, Climbing to the Peak and Falling to the Trough. Tang San gritted his teeth, his nails digging into his palms. He wanted nothing more than to pull out the clear sky hammer and smash it into Zhu Xing's face, to show him whether he was truly a genius. At the same time, he felt an endless hatred for Yu Chu, wishing he could drink his blood and devour his flesh. Haha. I didn't expect that among these people, there wasn't just one eunuch, but also a third-ring white genius. Zhu Bang burst into laughter upon seeing this scene. You trash, you'd better get out of here, bastard. Dai Mubei trembled with rage, but the terrifying killing intent he had just witnessed prevented him from acting rashly. After recovering, Yu Gang, with the care of the three instructors, also came back to life. Looking at Flander and the others still locked in a standoff, his eyes were bloodshot. Fine. Let's get out of here, Flander. Stop now, let's get out of here, Flander. Yu Gang nearly screamed himself hoarse. He couldn't understand why Flander still couldn't see the situation at this point. Logically speaking, opportunism should be his forte. Xiao Gang, I can't let Shrek Academy become homeless dogs. Flander's eyes flashed with cold light as he shouted. He knew in his heart that this was Shrek Academy's last chance. Did he really want to lead his old friends and students to the streets? Crack, the low table they had just sat on shattered. Yu Gang's heart tightened, his face contorted with rage as he roared, aren't you afraid of death? Do you want everyone to die with you? A titled Douluo, how could you possibly contend with him, even if we old folks aren't afraid of death? Do you want the children to follow us to destruction? Under a titled Douluo, who do you think you can protect? Having said this, Yu Gang didn't linger. He believed Flander had made his choice. He bowed to the three faculty members, saying, I'm sorry, seniors, let's leave it at that, but we will never forget your warm hospitality. We'll meet again. How cruel is the heavens to me. Flander closed his eyes, his breathing becoming labored, but the situation was beyond his control, and he could only sigh inwardly. So be it, he slowly unclenched his fists, his eyes, though slightly red behind his crystal glasses, regaining their composure. He bowed slightly to the three Soldalos. I didn't expect my visit to cause such trouble for you three seniors. Flander is ashamed, since the Heavenly Dao Royal Academy is unwilling to keep us, we cannot force them. Even if we miss today, we will likely not find peace. Farewell, three seniors. Flander will visit again another day. Having said this, he seemed to have aged decades, his aura weakening considerably. Wuji, let's take the children and go. Flander had also come to terms with it, understanding that he couldn't fight City Hall. Since Prince Zhu Xing was already hostile, staying would only cause more trouble. Understood, Xiao Bei, let's go, Zhao Wuji called to Dai Mubei and the others. Flander channeled his soul power to resist the aura of the titled Douluo, and led Yu Gang and the others towards the door. The Heaven Dao Royal Academy was good, but it wasn't a place to linger. Dean Flander, Meng Shenji called out anxiously. Flander didn't turn around, leading the Shrek Seven Devils outwards. The titled Douluo and his group stood towards the exit. The closer they got, the more intense the killing intent they felt. When the Shrek Seven Devils passed Zhu Bang, they clearly saw the gloating look in his eyes. The Snow Star Prince, on the other hand, held his head high, as if he couldn't see Flander and his group. Mo Wuchang's eyes flashed with mockery. He suddenly turned his attention to Zhao Wuji and the others, his black sword spinning above his head, unleashing a burst of sword energy. Clang. The sound of clashing metal made Tang San, Yu Gang, and the others dizzy. Bai Baoshan's cauldron floated above their heads, spinning rapidly, blocking the sword energy for them. Don't push your luck. The three Soldalos' faces flushed red and then paled, clearly enraged to the extreme. But what could they do? This was, after all, the Heaven Dao Empire's royal home, and opposite them stood a titled Douluo, with an even more terrifying level 98 titled Douluo behind him. Thank you, three instructors, Flander's hoarse voice rang out. He had no time to pay attention to the arguments between the three instructors and Zhu Xing inside. The group staggered out the door, only then realizing they were drenched in sweat. Ma Hongjin and Yu Gang, in particular, were trembling. Flander, a titled Douluo, didn't know where he got the courage. His eyes were red. He knew Shrek Academy was completely gone, and they had nowhere to go. Flander's sorrowful, desolate voice trembled, even choked with sobs. Xiao Bei, Hongjin, you must remember the humiliation you suffered today. You are our teacher's hope, Teacher, don't worry. I won't let you down, Mohongjin stammered, forcing a promise despite his fear. Today's humiliation will be repaid another day, Daimyo said sinisterly, his hatred threatening to consume him. 30 years east of the river, 30 years west of the river, never underestimate a young man's potential. Tang San's eyes also gleamed with fighting spirit as he gritted his teeth. One day, those who humiliated him, his teachers, and his father would pay the price. Good, good. Well said, Flanders shouted with satisfaction, his bitterness dissipating considerably. Let's go. Flanders gave the order, and the group helped each other up, heading down the mountain. Uzziah Gang's legs went weak, and he was supported by Flanders and Xiao Wu. Looking at Flanders, he felt guilty and couldn't help but comfort him. Flanders, if they don't want us here, there are other places that will. We still have a chance. Flanders didn't speak. He just nodded silently, his body slightly hunched in the night. After a while, two figures suddenly ran up from behind them and joined them. It was Qin Ming and Yu Xianhen. Such a dramatic rise and fall. Just when they thought they were about to climb to the peak, they unexpectedly fell into the abyss. Yichu was in the same situation. However, he was happy with it at this moment. Biao village, inside the stone house. Yichu and Zuzu had finished bathing and completed all the preparations. Zuzu King's body was still wet, her skin was delicate, and Yichu stopped in time. It was all his fault for not being honest. The curtain was lifted, and Yichu held the beautiful, fair and rosy body in his arms. Zuzu King wrapped her arms around Yichu's neck, burying her face in his chest, biting her lip lightly, very nervous. King, Yichu placed Zuzu King's burning body on the bed, just enough to cover the white cloth. Wishing everyone a happy life. QQ Group. 831,821,005. Chapter 319 Shrek spending the night on the street. Zuzu King's mature yet youthful and exquisitely beautiful figure was fully displayed before Yichu's eyes. Her skin was fair with a rosy glow, shimmering under the light. She was like a work of art. Yichu, don't look around. After waiting for a long time without any movement, Zuzu King murmured softly, her eyes shy and misty. Her two white, slender arms concealed her usual aloofness. The woman in leather pants was now so delicate and vulnerable. Yichu breathed a sigh of relief. He grasped one of her soft hands, their fingers intertwined. Yichu leaned down, pressing his forehead against Zuzu King's brow, their breaths mingling. He looked at the shimmering water in her eyes. In a soft murmur, their lips met. Zuzu King's cherry lips moved gently in response to Yichu. She felt a little breathless, her voice almost trembling with tears, and her body felt hot. Normally, although she presented herself to Yichu as eloquent, resourceful, and shrewd, possessing many virtues and readily granting his every wish, this intimate contact was unprecedented. She could clearly feel Yichu's curvaceous body. Their heat flowed between them, their heartbeats nearly synchronized. Yichu gently kissed Zuzu King's cheeks and red lips, leaving his red mark on her neck. Zuzu King bit her red lips, blushing shyly. Gradually, she relaxed her guard, though her long eyelashes still trembled, as if ashamed to be seen. She forced her eyes open, her red lips slightly parted. Yichu's face rapidly magnified in Zuzu King's eyes, slowly capturing her slightly parted red lips. Her heart fluttered. At the same time, Yichu reached out and covered her eyes, feeling the tingling sensation of her long eyelashes trembling gently in his palm. He savored the gift from Zuzu King, shaking his head and leaving fish scale-like marks on her full, red lips. Tasting this sweetness, one can't help but marvel at Zuzu King's radiant beauty. He gently nibbles at her smooth chin, snow-white neck, delicate collarbone. Outside the stone house, fireflies swarm, adding a touch of romance and tenderness. At the foot of the mountain, at the heavenly Douluo Royal Academy, while Yichu is stirring things up in Biao's village, enjoying the gentle warmth, the Shrek group, including Qin Ming and Yu Xianhen, finally arrived at the foot of the mountain after walking for about half an hour. It was the place they had started from. It all seemed like a dream. They had thought they could find a good home for their old friends and give the children a brighter future. But alas, it was all just a fleeting illusion. Seeing the clear lake reflecting the moon at the foot of the mountain again, none of the Shrek group had the heart to appreciate the scenery. Flanders stopped, looking up at the sky. The cold moonlight mirrored his own heart, cold, desolate, and filled with sorrow. Dean, why don't we reopen Shrek Academy? It was Daimyo who spoke. Ever since he escaped from the Star Luo Empire, he had stayed at Shrek Academy and had a deep affection for it. Seeing that Flanders still didn't react, Daimyo continued, I understand why you haven't accepted our student sponsorship, but at this moment, even if it's just to prove a point, we can't give up. Even if we have to participate in the Soul Arena's betting, we must support Shrek and make the Heavendao Royal Academy regret it. Upon hearing Daimyo's words, Tang San and the others nodded in agreement. Xiao Wuji's rough voice rang out, that's right, Xiao Bei is right. At worst, I, the immovable king, will return to the martial world. Yu Xianheng, who had come along, also stepped forward. I can also contribute. My family, Xianheng. Absolutely not. Before Yu Xianheng could finish speaking, Yu Xiaogang interrupted him. He would never allow Yu Xianheng to use the family's money to support Shrek Academy. The family wouldn't care about anything else, they would definitely blame Yu Xiaogang. Would that show that Yu Xiaogang was truly a good-for-nothing? Needing the support of the younger generation of the family to survive outside? He wouldn't allow that to happen. Xianheng, you're coming along like this is putting me in a difficult position. If your father or the family finds out, I'm afraid I'll be held responsible. Yu Xiaogang looked at Yu Xianheng, who was supporting him, his expression conflicted. He should have known better than to put on airs in front of him. Now he's all clinging to him. Uncle, what are you saying? Xianheng will take full responsibility for the family's situation. Yu Xianheng had long wanted to leave Wangdao. He hadn't achieved his purpose in coming, and this was a good opportunity to leave. Besides, he could also learn from his uncle and become stronger under his tutelage. Sigh, I wonder what will happen to Yanzi and the others. Qin Ming sighed, feeling somewhat guilty towards Wangdao. After all, as the team leader, he hadn't even said goodbye before running away. They'd spent so much time together, there was bound to be some affection, especially since these were students he'd personally trained. Qin Ming, you didn't need to go to such lengths for Shrek Academy. You've graduated. You should have your own life, Flanders said, looking at him with a complex expression. Dean, Qin Ming knows what he's doing. With those idiots in the royal family controlling Heavendao Royal Academy, it's bound to run into trouble sooner or later. Qin Ming shook his head helplessly, then said decisively, besides, I believe that with the strength of all the teachers, it won't be difficult for us to make a comeback. Yu Xiaogang sighed, grabbed Flanders' shoulder, and said in a deep voice, Flander, I'm sorry. This is my fault. Flanders sighed deeply and shook his head. It has nothing to do with you, we're just unlucky. I don't know why, but I have absolutely no desire to rebuild the academy right now. Perhaps it's because these past few years have been too tiring. Xiao Wuji frowned and asked, so what should we do now? Flanders' unfocused gaze gradually sharpened. He knew. His decision now wasn't just about himself, but also about the teachers of Shrek Academy and the children before him. Composing himself, he regained the composure befitting a dean. How about this? Let's head to Xiandao City, the capital of the Xiandao Empire, to rest for a while. We need a place to stay, after all. As for our next move, we'll discuss it later. Yu Xiaogang pondered for a moment and nodded. At this point, we can only take it one step at a time, Qin Ming said. Alright, then I'll lead the way. The journey from the Heavendao Royal Academy to Heavendao City wasn't far. The Shrek Seven Devils, having missed dinner, ate their dry rations with heavy hearts as they hurried on. After walking for about half an hour, they finally arrived at Heavendao City, the capital of the Heavendao Empire. In the distance, they could already see the city walls, their flags fluttering. As one of the two largest and most prosperous cities on the continent, Heavendao City's walls were hundreds of meters high, entirely constructed of the hardest granite. The soldiers patrolling and standing guard on and around the city walls were all fully armored, wielding long spears. Their fierce aura spoke volumes about their skill. The towering city gate was 10 meters high and 10 meters wide, large enough for 6 riders to ride abreast. There were 2 side gates, each 5 meters high and wide, through which pedestrians could only enter. The central gate remained tightly closed. It was indescribably magnificent and awe-inspiring. Wishing everyone a pleasant life. QQ Group. 831,821,005. Chapter 320. The beggar sleeping under the city wall. In the night sky, the bright moon quietly hid behind the clouds, as if veiling its shy eyes. Inside a stone house in Baiao's village, the dragon and phoenix candles bought by Zhu Zhuking burned slowly, their fiery red flames flickering. melting wax dripping down like tears. Several spring breezes brought joy, orioles sang softly, and the rain had just ceased. Beep job change successful, spirit cat night. Experience points, +1, +1, +1, 404. At this moment, quite some time had passed. While the night was alluring, sleepiness wasn't always what entered the body. But Shrek and the others were indeed feeling sleepy. They had been marching rapidly from Soto City to the Heavendale Royal Academy. Now, they were being pressured by an unknown titled Douluo. Their bodies were exhausted. Fortunately, they had arrived at the city gate. Just as they were about to enter the city, they saw a huge announcement on the bulletin board beside the gate. As a 4-eyed owl, Flanders' eyesight was still quite good, especially since the Heavendale city gates were very well lit. Seeing Flanders stop, Tang San, who was already somewhat sleepy, immediately opened his eyes. Uzia Gang also rubbed his eyes. There, prominently displayed, was a job posting. Hiring, Blue Tyrant Advanced Soul Master Academy, due to its own expansion, is now sincerely recruiting the following personnel: 10 Soul Masters of level 40 or above. Those with high soul power will be given priority. Excellent benefits will be offered upon hiring. Seeing this message, Flanders said in surprise, "Why is the Academy's advertisement even on the city gate bulletin board? How much does this cost?" At this moment, his mood improved somewhat, and his stingy nature resurfaced. Qin Ming, most familiar with the situation in Heavendale City, quickly said, "Any advanced Soul Master Academy that can operate in Heavendale City has a certain background. I don't know much about this Blue Tyrant Academy, its background is unknown, but in the preliminary rounds of the last Soul Master competition, their team eliminated the second team of Heavendale Royal Academy. However, this year, the students from Blue Tyrant Academy should have already graduated, and the strength of the second team of Heavendale Royal Academy has increased considerably. I estimate they won't have much of a chance this time." Uzia Gang stared blankly at the name of the academy. Yu Xianheng, who was supporting him, was about to say something when Uzia Gang interrupted him. He had already guessed the background of Blue Tyrant Academy, but he had never considered that Yu Xianheng wanted to tell him more. However, since Uzia Gang didn't want him to say more, he didn't say anything more and continued to listen quietly. Of everyone, only Tang San noticed Uzia Gang's unusual expression and, connecting it to his teacher's background, immediately understood. "So, what is the scale of this Blue Tyrant Academy?" Flanders continued to ask. "They're about a third the size of the Heavendale Royal Academy. But since they're located in Heavendale City, their expenses aren't any less than the Heavendale Royal Academies. They just don't have a royal background. I heard they only accept commoner students and reject all nobles." Hearing Qin Ming's introduction, a glint of shrewdness and a hint of vengeful satisfaction flashed in Flanders' eyes. He immediately declared ambitiously, "Who says Blue Tyrant Academy doesn't have the potential to compete with a Heavendale Royal Academy in the Soul Master Academy tournament?" Flanders glanced at the recruitment notice on the bulletin board and said calmly, "Soon, they'll have one." Xiao Wuji was stunned, his mind not quite grasping the situation. He asked, "Flanders, what do you mean? How come they suddenly have one?" Flanders patted Xiao Wuji on the shoulder. With a sigh, Xiao Wuji said, "Wuji, I've thought this through on the way here. Our original Shrek Academy didn't have the qualifications of a true Advanced Soul Master Academy. Re-establishing it is no easy task. There are far too many problems to solve. Just getting certified by the Spirit Hall is a difficult hurdle. There are only a handful of people, besides, we're all getting old. Must we suffer for my vague ideals? Since this Blue Tyrant Academy seems good, let's go take a look." The last sentence was a request for the opinions of the rest of Shrek. Xiao Wuji smiled indifferently. "You're the leader of Shrek, you can make the decision. Why ask us?" Tang San nodded, hatred flashing in his eyes. "Teacher Zhao is right. Besides, not avenging today's humiliation is not Shrek's style. We'll leave it to the dean, teacher, to decide." Ma Hongjian, Qin Ming, Li Yusong, and the others said in unison. "Haha, good." Flanders' face finally broke into a smile again. "Then I'll trouble you all to follow me. If this doesn't work, we can always go back and rebuild the academy." "Alright, Flanders, let's not stand here any longer. Let's go into the city and talk as we go." Uzia Gang was exhausted. In the education committee, he was the one who knelt down the fastest and suffered the most. "Okay," Flanders nodded and led the way inside. No one noticed that when Flanders' eyes, behind his crystal glasses, swept over Uzia Gang's figure, a cunning glint appeared deep within them. Xia Gang, when the time comes, you'll have no choice but to comply. Little did he know, Liu Erlong had already found her true love and had been enjoying a passionate and intimate relationship for months. Yi Chu had also already planned to place Xiao Wu and the others at Blue Tyrant Academy to participate in the Continental Advanced Soul Master Academy tournament. Leading the way with a sly smile on his face, Flander was about to step into the city. Suddenly, two crossed spears blocked their path. "Halt! You can't go in," the guard said coldly. "Why?" Flander stopped in his tracks, his smile vanishing instantly as he looked at them in confusion. Qin Ming immediately stepped forward, frowning as he asked, "As far as I know, Heaven Dao City doesn't seem to have any gate restrictions, does it?" The soldier, seeing Qin Ming's extraordinary bearing, dared not be presumptuous. "Your Excellency, indeed there isn't, but His Highness the Fourth Prince specifically instructed us that you are not allowed to enter before dawn. We hope you won't make things difficult for us." "What did you say?" "Go to hell, you bird king," Xiao Wuji roared, about to attack. His title of immovable king wasn't earned through pent-up frustration. Swish swish swish. Sensing the commotion, a group of people immediately rushed down from the high wall, spears pointed at the Shrek Seven Devils. "Wuji! Everyone, don't be impulsive," Flander immediately stopped Xiao Wuji. "Things are different now. Xiao Wuji is now the Vice Dean of Shrek Academy. No longer the unrestrained and audacious immovable king." Flander looked up and seemed to see a figure with black and white hair standing on a building inside the city walls. If they forced their way in now, they might be killed on the spot. How ruthless the other side is. "Flander, where can we go now?" Xiao Wuji turned around, his back to the soldiers, his face extremely ugly. Tang San and the others were also extremely humiliated. Did they have to sleep on the streets outside the city gate tonight? Hell, Flander gave a bitter laugh. But beneath that laugh was endless hatred, his voice hoarse. "Didn't they say we could go in at dawn?" After saying that, Flander led the way, turned around, and came to the foot of the city wall, where he sat down cross-legged. Watching this scene, no matter how much Daimyo and the others gritted their teeth and hated it to the core, it was all in vain. Xia Gang walked over to Flander and sat down cross-legged. He was about to collapse. "Everyone, let's sit down quickly. Spending the night away from home is nothing new for Soul Masters. Everyone, get yourself together quickly. We'll head to Blue Tyrant Academy for our job interviews tomorrow." He then leaned against the wall to rest. Tang San will remember this humiliation. Tang San gritted his teeth and stepped down to sit cross-legged. He felt even more hatred for Daimyo, a prince, reduced to such a state. After a moment of hesitation, everyone took their seats. Only Oscar and Xiaozin remained standing. They exchanged a glance, both seeing the disappointment in each other's eyes. Xiaozin shook his head. He walked to the foot of the city wall, chose a spot, and sat down. Oscar had no choice but to follow. The night was deep and quiet. At the foot of the towering city wall, it looked like a row of homeless beggars sat. Wishing everyone a happy life. QQ Group. 831,821,005. Chapter 321 Soul Devouring Beast Martial Soul devours its master. A pale dawn broke on the horizon. The gates of Xiandao City gradually became bustling. Every now and then, people cast curious, disdainful glances at the group gathered in the corner. Tang San and the others endured their humiliation until dawn broke. Biao Village. Yi Chu hadn't slept a wink all night. The allure of the big cat was simply too great. Unlike Liu Erlong, who was enthusiastic, proactive, and occasionally took the lead, Zhu Huqing was shy, innocent, and coy. And with such superior physical attributes, Yi Chu was simply irresistible. Aside from the combat experience he'd learned from Liu Erlong, he almost made Zhu Huqing unleash her external soul bone, the shadow spider spear, hanging from the ceiling, to try out a new fusion technique. Yi Chu held the beauty curled up in his arms. The large blanket couldn't hide the ripples of her fair skin, her delicate, rosy complexion glowing with a captivating blush. This was Zhu Huqing at this moment. Her face was flushed, her brows slightly furrowed. She wore an alluring expression that was difficult to decipher, a mixture of pain and pleasure. Tears clung to the corners of her eyes, a hint of tenderness shone from her brow, and a sweet, contented smile played on her lips. She rested quietly on Yi Chu's arm. Yi Chu turned to her side, gently stroking her waist, and reached out to tidy a stray strand of hair behind her ear. His fingertips barely touched her flushed face when Zhu Huqing sensed something. Her eyelashes fluttered, and she opened her eyes to see Yichu. Her delicate body trembled slightly, her pretty face blooming like a peach blossom, her earlobes glistening with desire. Awake, Yichu's voice was gentle, his azure eyes fixed on her, his warm palm glowing with a green light as he gently stroked her body, relieving her fatigue. Zhu Xiuqing murmured, her face red. Her lips parted slightly, her eyes, brimming with tenderness and affection, yet also tinged with a hint of fear. Yichu's inexhaustible vitality was like a walking power bank. His role on the battlefield was no less important than Yulingling's nine-hearted begonia. With him around, even death was difficult. Afterwards, despite being exhausted and in pain, he treated her, and she was forcibly conscripted again. Memories of last night flooded back. Just recalling them made Zhu Xiuqing's heart race. She felt a mixture of love and fear towards Yichu. I'm sorry, my charming big cat, Yichu smiled apologetically, gently stroking her still somewhat tired face, and leaned forward to kiss her red lips. Zhu Xiuqing tilted her head slightly, savoring the moment. Nothing, her voice was soft and weak, her eyes gentle as water. Her flushed face deepened, her pink body wriggled, and half of her body leaned against Yichu. Her two soft hands gently caressed Yichu's chest. With lingering echoes, she softly called out to Yichu. Husband, shall we get up first? Her injuries had already been healed by Yichu, leaving only a slight lingering sense of unease. No rush, let's rest a little longer. Yichu smoothed her hair. Then, he embraced her smooth waist, pulling her soft, magnificent body into his arms. They switched places. Yichu buried his head in Zhu Xiuqing's embrace, inhaling her fragrance, and closed his eyes to rest. Zhu Xiuqing's face was flushed. She gently held Yichu's head, inhaling his scent. A slightly tipsy smile graced her face. She was very happy that Yichu liked her so much. The warmth emanating from him made her feel intoxicated and very comfortable. Heavendao City. As dawn broke, Tang San and the others finally entered Heavendao City as they had hoped. Everyone's faces were etched with the words travel worn, showing signs of weariness and exhaustion. Even after entering the city, seeing the crowds and prosperity, they still couldn't muster any interest. Qin Ming, still in relatively good spirits, suggested, Dean, let's find a place to stay first. Going to Blue Tyrant Academy like this might not be a good idea. Flander, his eyes bloodshot, stared at the high sun in the sky, seemingly lost in thought. Composing himself, he said hoarsely, yes, we definitely need to pack up properly first. Everyone must be hungry and tired. Once we find a place to stay, let's have a good meal, then rest well, and head to Blue Tyrant Academy tomorrow. Let's do as you say, came Yu Xiaogang's weak voice. He had been sitting cross-legged for too long, his legs were numb. Now he needed Tang San and Yu Xianheng to support him to walk. Afterwards, the Shrek group went to a suitable inn. In the Heavenly Dao Imperial City, land was incredibly valuable, and they didn't have much money, so they had to find a good place. At Zhu Bang's residence. In the study. Hun Feng was talking to Zhu Bang. Where did you take Mo Wuchang last night? Hun Feng asked, sitting in the main seat. At this moment, he was utterly devoid of any refinement or scholarly air. His academic robes were wrinkled, his hair was disheveled, his face was pale and bloodless, and his eyes were bloodshot. He seemed to have suffered inhuman torment. Teacher, I'm taking His Majesty to the academy. Zhu Bang made no attempt to conceal his reliance on others, truthfully explaining his plans. Foolish, Hun Feng cursed angrily after hearing Zhu Bang's plan. He didn't pay much attention to the Shrek Academy group that had been forced to leave, but instead lectured them, even if you cultivate a strong team, won't Zhu become suspicious? What makes you think you can make them advance so rapidly? You're ruining the future of soul masters like this. If word gets out, who'll serve the royal family in the future? This will only make Zhu look down on you even more. After Hun Feng's words, Zhu Bang realized that he had indeed been too eager for quick results. He bowed and said, Teacher is right, student is dull-witted. Alright, you can go now, I need to rest for a while. Hun Feng waved his hand weakly, dismissing Zhu Bang. Then teacher, please rest well. Student takes his leave. Click. After Zhu Bang left, Mo Wuchang, who had been standing ramrod straight beside him, squinted. Hun Feng, your martial spirit has started devouring its master again, isn't it obvious? Hun Feng looked dejected, his eyes filled with deep fear. Now I only hope that His Majesty can find a suitable candidate as soon as possible, so that he can grow up quickly, otherwise, I will only have one way out, death. Mo Wuchang comforted him, don't worry, I heard from His Majesty the Demon King that their Douluo Empire has found a suitable successor, and the assessment should begin soon." Hearing this, Han Feng's panic eased slightly. He smiled bitterly. "I hope I can hold on until the moment he becomes a god." Han Feng's request was not much. He couldn't bear to leave this world, he just wanted to live, in any form or by any means necessary, as long as he was alive. The soul-devouring beast martial soul feeds on souls, granting soul masters powerful and bizarre abilities, but also incurring a curse. When the soul-devouring beast becomes stronger than the soul master's soul, it will devour the soul master's soul. From then on, it detaches from the soul master's mortal body and wreaks havoc on the world. Wishing everyone a happy life. QQ Group. 831,821,005. Chapter 322. Her boldness is beyond my reach. In Biao's village, Yichu had already gotten up. He carried Zhu Xiuqing behind the curtain to bathe. After bathing, looking at Zhu Xiuqing before him, Yichu couldn't take his eyes off her. Her shy and timid appearance was simply irresistible. Her delicate face radiated a charming and alluring glow, her brows and eyes exuding a languid and contented allure. Her body was perfectly proportioned, slender where it should be, and exceptionally full where it should be. Yichu couldn't help but glare at her fiercely a few times before finally looking away and taking the clothes Zhu Xiuqing offered. It was a set of leather clothing resembling a stepmother's dress. Yichu picked up the black stockings first. Zhu Xiuqing gave him a coquettish glare. She bit her red lips, hesitated for a moment, and then released her arms. Suppressing her shyness, she sat on the edge of the bed with a mixture of coyness and confidence, stretching her shapely and slender legs towards Yichu. Her long eyelashes fluttered, her eyes were misty, her head was slightly lowered, her red lips were pursed, and she dared not look directly at him. She kept telling herself that this was just normal mutual care between husband and wife in the future. Yichu held her smooth, delicate jade feet in his hands, and felt her body tremble, her earlobes almost bleeding. He forced himself to keep his eyes straight ahead. Yichu was afraid that he would not be able to resist the temptation, otherwise all his washing up would have been in vain. He slowly pulled up Zhu Xiuqing's stockings. Every time his warm fingertips touched her milky skin, they left a blush. After Yichu helped Zhu Xiuqing get dressed, her face was already burning red. Then Zhu Xiuqing helped Yichu get dressed. After a long time, Zhu Xiuqing, who had already dressed her husband, still had a blush on her face. She said in a resentful tone, "Husband, from now on, Xiuqing should help you get dressed first. Otherwise, it's really inconvenient." Yichu chuckled dryly and said helplessly, "Actually, it's all the same." Just looking at his big cat, Yichu's heart could not calm down. Zhu Xiuqing rolled her eyes at him, but her eyes held amusement. "By the way, why did you buy this kind of clothing?" Yichu stroked his chin, carefully examining the woman with her back to him. She was bending over, tidying up the white fabric embroidered with red plum blossoms on the bed. The skirt, which should have covered her thighs, almost completely revealed her shapely legs as she bent over. Black stockings, straight, long, and voluptuous. Beautifully shaped legs. Otherwise, most people wouldn't dare to flaunt leather pants in public. This was all picked out for me by Rong Rong." Zhu Xiuqing clutched the fabric to her chest, her face flushed as she stored it in her soul tool, her smile sweet. "Really? That girl is quite sensible." Yichu smiled and put his arm around Zhu Xiuqing's waist. "She understands you quite well, especially in certain ways." Zhu Xiuqing leaned quietly against Yichu's chest. Ning Rongrong's boldness was something she could only dream of. Fortunately, Yichu knew how to teach her. Although it made her feel embarrassed, she was willing. "Speaking of Rongrong, what about her? If she really wants to, then let's get it done as soon as possible, or we can save it for when Uncle Ning holds our engagement banquet. Let's see what she wants." Yichu had thought about this problem yesterday. He also knew that Ning Rongrong had been eyeing him for a long time. Now, among the four girls including Yang Yan, only she was left, so she definitely wouldn't be happy. He would just have to be careful then. If it were like with Xiuqing, she would probably be willing but unable. "It's good that my husband has a plan." Xiuqing gently tapped Yichu's cheek. "Alright, let's go to old Zhang's house for another meal and then go back." "Yes. I'll listen to my husband." Yichu led Xiuqing, took some incense, and went to the peach tree outside the stone house. They offered incense, kowtowed, and performed 3 kneeling rituals. After the worship was completed, Yichu looked up, somewhat dazed, realizing how much time had passed without her noticing. Husband, let's go. We can come back to see Grandpa later, Yichu took Zhu Zhuking's soft hand, and together they stood up, bidding farewell to old Yi again. Then they headed towards old Zhang's house. On the way, the two held hands, their fingers intertwined. Yichu wore a white coat and a black undershirt, his simple blue hair styled in short strands, his azure eyes admiring the girl beside him. Her smooth, dark hair was still slightly damp, straight and long, flowing smoothly down her back. She wore a black, hip-length skirt that Yichu had personally slipped on. The skirt barely concealed her ample bosom, its peaks overlapping, exuding boundless allure. Her hips below the waist seemed like a masterpiece of nature, rounded and full of charm. Beneath her long, black-stockinged legs, she wore high heels, making her appear even taller. Under Yichu's somewhat questioning gaze, Zhu Zhuking snuggled closer to him. She said shyly, "It's not that I don't want you to see, I'm just not used to wearing these clothes, my legs feel a little chilly." Yichu smiled gently. Warmth was transferred between his hands and his embrace. The two went to old Zhang's house for a meal, and after breakfast later that evening, Yichu, hand in hand with Zhu Zhuking, returned to the 7 treasure glazed tile school. The sun blazed brightly in the sky. Less than an hour until noon. In Yichu's usual courtyard, Zhu Zhuking and Yichu appeared out of thin air. Looking around, they couldn't see Ningrongrong and Xiao Wu. Did they go out to play? Zhu Zhuking asked. No, Yichu's eyes flashed with a purple light, and he shook his head with a smile, pulling Zhu Zhuking towards his room. He said helplessly, "They haven't gotten up yet." In Yichu's room, Xiao Wu and Ningrongrong were lying in Yichu's bed. Ningrongrong held Xiao Wu in her arms, Xiao Wu nestled against her, gently nuzzling her and murmuring Xiao Chu. Ningrongrong, like an octopus, clung to Xiao Wu's soft body, a dreamy smile on her face, lost in a pleasant dream. Click, Yichu led Zhu Zhuking into the room. Looking at the two charming and playful girls, his face beamed. Perhaps Yichu's opening of the door disturbed Ningrongrong, for she rubbed her eyes and wiped the drool from the corner of her mouth. Half opening her eyes, she looked out the window. A figure she had longed for suddenly appeared before her. Her previously half-closed eyes snapped open, her blue pupils trembling, blinking twice, as if she couldn't distinguish between dream and reality. Yichu said with a slightly annoyed smile, "Have you two been cultivating these past few days?" Hearing this, Ningrongrong's face lit up with surprise and delight. Ah! X2 with a startled cry, she pushed Xiao Wu away from her arms. Xiao Wu screamed in panic. If Zhu Qing hadn't caught her in time, she probably would have rolled off the bed. "Yichu, you naughty guy, you're finally back." Ningrongrong jumped up and clung to Yichu, hugging him tightly and pressing her face against his. Then, a shower of sweet kisses rained down on Yichu's face. Wishing everyone a happy life. QQ Group. 831,821,005. Chapter 323. The order is wrong. Blocked on the bed by Zhu Zhuking, Xiao Wu, still sprawled out on the floor, heard Ningrongrong's voice. All panic vanished from her eyes. Zhuking, yes, Zhu Zhuking, supporting her smooth, fragrant shoulders, nodded slightly. Xiao Wu was overjoyed. Xiao Chu is back. She tried to pounce, but found Ningrongrong already completely occupying Yichu. Xiao Chu, she immediately knelt on the bed, looking pitifully at Yichu, opening her arms for a hug. Ningrongrong's thin, barely there halter neck dress barely covered her hips. Yichu supported her soft, round buttocks, finally managing to escape her advances. "Alright, wrong, Xiao Wu, you should go wash up first, it's almost noon." "No," Ningrongrong refused outright. "Let Xiao go first, we'll talk after she's washed up." Xiao pursed her red lips and nodded in agreement. "Okay, then you have to give me Xiaokia when I come out." "Sure, no problem," Ningrongrong nodded. Xiao reluctantly walked towards the bathroom. Seeing her leave, Ningrongrong immediately used her hands and feet to climb up, wanting to ride on Yichu's neck. Wrong, what are you doing?" Yichu rolled his eyes. "How come this little devil is even more lively and active than Xiao?" HMPH, Ningrongrong was a little unhappy when Yichu stopped her. She had only heard from Xiao that she had ridden on Yichu before and wanted to try it out. This brat is really biased. Yichu knew what she was thinking when he met her eyes. He couldn't persuade her otherwise. He had no choice but to let her do as she pleased. Otherwise, if she found out that Zhu Qing was acting strangely, she would probably make a bigger scene. Ningrongrong giggled. She quickly straddled Yichu's neck, her two fair and delicate thighs pressed against his warm face. Her excited face flushed red. Watching this scene, Zhu Xiuqing remembered that she had also ridden like this, only from a different direction. Her face instantly turned rosy, and a warm current surged in her lower abdomen. Satisfied now, Yichu held her two small hands and sat down on the edge of the bed. Zhu Xiuqing also found a place to sit. HMPH, you're smart enough, Ning Rongrong huffed, and Yichu's face also turned slightly red. These legs were so white, so soft, so fragrant. The heat radiated from her thighs, rising upwards. Ning Rongrong's face was flushed. She looked at Zhu Xiuqing triumphantly. However, as she looked, she noticed something was amiss. Zhu Xiuqing was actually wearing the alluring clothes she had bought for her. Her eyes were darting around as she looked at her. Her face was radiant, her features exquisite, her skin supple and flushed, like milk and cherry blossom pudding. This seductive state. She could only feel this after massaging herself or after being massaged by Yichu. She pursed her red lips. Besides the familiar scent of Yichu, there was also Zhu Qing's. Ning Rongrong blinked. She squeezed her legs together. She asked somewhat fiercely, Yichu, have you already eaten Zhu Qing, you bad guy? Her voice trailed off, tinged with grievance. Yes, last night. You're so mean. Ning Rongrong looked aggrieved, biting her red lips. She had tried everything to seduce this guy, and every time he just gave her a massage to appease her. She grabbed Yichu's hair with her soft hand. Her two straight, fragrant legs slowly exerted force. A delicate fragrance surrounded her nose, whether as punishment or reward, she didn't know. You want? Ning Rongrong was about to say something when Yichu preemptively bit her white, tender thigh. Ning Rongrong fell off Yichu's neck, caught in his arms. Fortunately, Yichu had untied her little hands first, otherwise he would have ripped two bald patches off his own head. Xiao Chu, what's wrong with Rongrong? Xiao Wu had just run to Yichu's side when she saw Ning Rongrong with red eyes and a flushed face, glaring at Yichu through gritted teeth, clearly looking wronged. This brat. Yichu raised an eyebrow. He quickly interrupted the spell, not giving Ning Rongrong a chance to speak. Yichu said, why don't you let Zhu Qing tell you first? I'll take Rongrong to wash up. Zhu Qing's face flushed red, and she hesitated. She was a little embarrassed to speak. What if Xiao Wu asked her what happened? Xiao Wu frowned, looking at Ning Rongrong's delicate, tearful appearance, and obediently nodded. Yichu breathed a sigh of relief, and under Ning Rongrong's somewhat resentful gaze, he picked her up and carried her to the bathroom. He understood. The best way to comfort Ning Rongrong was naturally to respond with practical action. Snap. As the door closed, Ning Rongrong's face flushed crimson. Her fists clenched, her heart pounding. She had no idea how Yichu was going to help her wash up. She watched helplessly as Yichu placed her on the massage and back rubbing couch. Outside, Xiao Wu was pestering the shy Zhu Xiuqing, asking for details. The two suddenly exchanged a glance and fell silent, listening intently to the sounds coming from the room. Looking through the glass door, they could only see Yichu reaching for the couch, performing a massage. Xiao Wu pursed her lips. Through the blurry glass, she couldn't tell if Ning Rongrong was lying down or reclining. If Zhu Xiuqing were inside, she wouldn't have this problem, she could tell at a glance. After a while, the sound of running water came from inside, as if Yichu was washing Ning Rongrong's body. After a full-service massage, shower, and changing, the bathroom door finally opened. A few drops of steam drifted out. Ning Rongrong lowered her head, gently kneading Yichu's fingers. She followed him out. Her long brown hair was loose behind her. She had just taken a hot bath, and her body was still slightly flushed. Her face was rosy, and her cherry lips were swollen. Her blue eyes shimmered, and she looked shy and timid in the eyes of Zhu Xiuqing and the other woman. There was no trace of anger left. Rongrong, are you alright? Xiao Wu looked at her curiously. No, I'm fine. Ning Rongrong paused, quickly walked to the bedside and sat down. She sat with her legs together, very ladylike. Then Xiao Chu should keep Xiao Wu company. Xiao Wu giggled and pulled Yichu to her side, naturally sitting on his lap. Their red lips and white teeth touched, and they shared a light kiss. Ning Rongrong watched the two kissing, her face turning even redder. She thought she was already quite talented, but she didn't expect that she was still not good enough in front of Yichu. He used a little trickery and a few words to comfort himself. Yichu was right. They'd all finished, so how far behind could he be? Thinking of this, Ningrongrong's luscious red lips immediately curled up. Sure enough, she was still a little annoyed. The order was wrong. She needed to hurry too. Alright, Xiao Wu, I have something to tell you. Yi Chu smiled and put Xiao Wu aside, giving himself a break. Xiao Chu, just say what you want to say. Why did you push Xiao Wu away? Seeing Xiao Wu sit down again, Yi Chu let her be, putting his arm around her waist, and said to Ningrongrong and Zhu Zhuking, tomorrow I'll take you to Lianba Academy. Ningrongrong pouted and asked, is it at Liu Erlong's place? Yi Chu looked at her and nodded with a smile. No problem, whatever you say, Xiao Chu. Xiao Wu immediately nodded. Zhu Zhuking said, I have no objection either, then it's settled. We can also help Erlong's academy participate in the Soul Master competition. Time flew by. After just chatting with Xiao Wu and the other two girls, it was already noon. After having lunch with them, Yi Chu headed to the Ice and Fire Yin-Yang Well Secret Realm to visit Du Guyan. Wishing everyone a pleasant life. QQ Group. 831,821,005. Chapter 324 Lingling, Repay Me With Your Body. Heavenly Dower Royal Academy. The Royal Fighting Team's exclusive training ground. Du Guyan and Yi Lingling strolled here. They already knew about Yu Xianheng and Qin Ming's departure from the team. As a result, the Royal Fighting Team's training was suspended until a new leader was appointed and new members were added. However, the two women's topic wasn't about the Royal Fighting Team. For Yi Lingling right now, nothing was more important than resolving the flaw in her martial soul. Yanzi, do you think Yi Chu can really help me? Yi Lingling's face was still veiled in black. Her slender figure was incredibly graceful, and her light blue eyes held a hint of worry. Don't worry, I know him. If he can really help, even just for my sake, he definitely won't hesitate. Du Guyan, holding Yi Lingling's arm, her long purple-green hair tied up with a dark hairpin, exuded a mature charm. Brother is the best. Behind the two girls followed a foodie Xiao Lan. Even with her mouth full of food, she still had to praise Yi Chu a couple of times. Du Guyan chuckled, turning around and rolling her eyes at her. She was supposed to come and take care of her. But after healing her, she dragged her shopping and buying food. But this favor is different from others, the price must be much higher. Yi Lingling wasn't so optimistic. The problem their family hadn't solved for generations wouldn't be so easy to solve. If you're really so worried, you can actually offer yourself to me, Du Guyan chuckled, seemingly joking, but she was seriously observing Yi Lingling's expression. She had long wanted Yi Lingling to join Yi Chu's womanizing family. Now might be a good opportunity. Yanzi, why are you saying things like that again? Yi Lingling rolled her eyes at her, feeling a little flustered. After all, she really did have this thought. Du Guyan smiled, still keenly noticing the shyness and struggle in her eyes. Du Guyan thought to herself, this is promising, I'm not joking, I'm serious. I don't mind, I'd really welcome it. Just as she was about to say more, Xiao Lan suddenly exclaimed in surprise, Sister Yan Yan, my brother is coming. He wants us to wait for him at the training ground. A look of joy flashed across Du Guyan's face. They were just about to enter the grove of trees. Lingling, let's go together. We can ask my good husband later. Du Guyan took her arm and, without waiting for her consent, quickly walked towards the training ground. Hearing Du Guyan's address to Yi Chu and seeing her flushed, rosy complexion, Yi Lingling suddenly felt that she had become much prettier. Sister Yan Yan, Sister Lingling, Xiao Lan is going first. Xiao Lan quickly stuffed her things into her hands, straightened her clothes, wiped her mouth clean, and ran quickly towards the place she sensed. She didn't forget to turn back. Sister Yan Yan, you can't say bad things about Xiao Lan in front of your brother, okay? This girl. Du Guyan smiled helplessly. Yi Lingling's eyes flashed with envy as she looked at Xiao Lan. Having a younger sister like that wouldn't be bad, would it? Soon, she was startled by her own thought. Yanzi, I'll tell him myself later, okay? Ice and Fire Yin-Yang Secret Realm. Yi Chu's arrival only brought him the old man, Du Gubo. As soon as he saw Yi Chu, he started he-heing non-stop, blaming Yi Chu for not spending enough time with Du Guyan. He asked Yi Chu when he could hold his granddaughter. Yi Chu didn't have time to deal with the old man today. He gave a few perfunctory replies and, after learning of Du Guyan and the others' whereabouts, left. He had just arrived at the royal fighting training ground when a fragrant blue breeze wafted towards him, enveloping him in her arms. Soft and bouncy, she touched his face with a dampness, and a silvery laugh filled his ears. "Brother, Little Blue missed you so much, really? I heard from Senior Douluo that you bully Tiger Girl all the time, and that on the very day I brought you there, you dragged Yan Yan out for a stroll." Yichu raised an eyebrow, lifting Little Blue's pert bottom and glaring at her with a hint of annoyance. Little Blue's sweet smile froze. Little Blue," she stammered, unable to get a straight answer. "Haha." Behind them, Douluo Yan's sweet laughter suddenly rang out. "Little Blue, this isn't something Sister Yan said about you, alright, brother isn't blaming you." Yichu looked at her wrinkled face, gently nibbled at her cheek, and put her down. With her healing abilities, Yan Yan was fine. As for Tiger Girl, she was tough and resilient. Xiaolan pouted, unable to move on. Like a child who had done something wrong, she stood cautiously beside Yichu. Yichu turned around. Douluo Yan and Yilingling were walking over together. When their eyes met, Yilingling's expression became somewhat evasive. Douluo Yan's words had already made it difficult for her to look directly at Yichu. Now, with other thoughts in her heart, she couldn't bear to meet his gaze even more. "Husband," Douluo Yan quickly nestled into Yichu's arms, gently sniffing him. She didn't forget to give Xiaolan a disdainful look. A substitute really couldn't compare to the real thing. "Is everything done?" Douluo Yan asked softly. "Yes, it's done. I'll be staying in Yongdao City for a long time." Yichu embraced Douluo Yan, whose temperament was slowly changing, her slender waist still incredibly supple. Yichu didn't hold her for long. After all, Yilingling was still there. He released Douluo Yan and greeted Yilingling. "Why don't we go sit in the lounge over there for a while?" Douluo Yan pulled Yichu and asked Yilingling. Yilingling hesitated for a moment, then nodded gently. She wanted to be more enthusiastic, but she was still a little unaccustomed to it. Xiaolan quickly grabbed Yichu's other hand as well. Yichu chuckled and said, "Xiaolan, tomorrow your brother will take you and Sister Rongrong to Lianba Academy, okay? Wherever brother goes, Xiaolan will go?" Xiaolan nodded happily. Lianba Academy, Douluo Yan was taken aback. She hadn't forgotten that the dean there indirectly owed her a favor. Her grandfather had given her the medicine so that she would have help. "Husband, I haven't been training lately, can I come along tomorrow too?" "No problem," Yichu nodded. They would meet sooner or later anyway. Then he remembered that Shrek Academy and the group should have already arrived at the Heavendao Royal Academy. He immediately asked, "By the way, Yan Yan, do you know how Shrek Academy is doing?" "HMPH. Just thinking about them makes me angry." The royal fighting team was doing well, but then they arrived, and teacher Qin Ming left with them. Douluo Yan snorted coldly. She was quite satisfied with their team leader, Qin Ming. Yu Shai and Hang left with them too, Yilingling added from the side. As they spoke, the group was already seated in the lounge. "Have a nice day. QQ Group. 831,821,005. Chapter 325. I'm still in the dark. That's how it is. I wonder where that spoiled brat Zubang found this title. Douluo." Douluo Yan told Yichu everything she knew after Shrek Academy arrived. Her eyes were slightly narrowed, her gaze alluring. She leaned lazily against Yichu's shoulder, kneading his arm. She couldn't help but recall their first meeting, their fight in the wooden house. Yichu's expression remained unchanged. More surprising than the title Douluo was that Yu Shai and Heng had also left with Yu Zia Gang and the others. He wondered if they would follow their original path to Blue Tyrant Academy. After understanding these things, Yichu looked at Yilingling sitting opposite him and asked, "Miss Lingling, you said you needed my help with something. What is it?" Brother, Xiaolan knows." Before she could speak, Xiaolan, sitting in Yichu's lap, raised her head and hugged his neck. Biting his ear, she was about to tell Yichu. "Xiaolan, Sister Lingling can tell you herself." Yilingling looked up and rolled her eyes at Xiaolan. "Oh." Xiaolan reluctantly let go of Yichu and pouted. Not knowing what to do, she could only take out something to reward herself. Yilingling lowered her eyes. She couldn't bear to look at Yichu with his arms around both of them. After a moment of hesitation, she nervously clenched her small hands and whispered, "Yichu, I heard Miss Ning say that her martial soul evolved because of your help." Hearing Ning wrong, Yichu understood. So what Yilingling wanted to tell him was the curse on her martial soul, the nine-hearted begonia. Yichu raised his hand and interrupted her. "Miss Lingling, I already know what you want to say, you know. Yes, I know, Yichu nodded seriously. The 9-heart begonia martial soul can only have one inheritor per generation, and at most two can live at the same time. Yichu's calm words sounded painful to Yilingling. Looking at Yichu, she grasped at a straw. Then, yes Chu, is there any way you can help me? To lift the curse of the 9-heart begonia, Yilingling's pale blue eyes were fixed on Yichu. Suddenly, her face beneath the black veil turned pale. Yichu was shaking his head. Yilingling said anxiously, Yichu, don't worry. As long as you help me, I'm willing to pay any price. Anything, as long as my family has it, will do. Miss Lingling, it's not that I don't want to help you, but I'm simply powerless right now, Yichu said helplessly. Although he still had a few immortal herbs, they were completely unsuitable for Yilingling, and the only 8-petaled immortal orchid he had didn't have that effect. How could this be? Yilingling's eyes glazed over, and she froze, no longer moving. Her once bright eyes became dull and lifeless again, colder than before. This feeling of having a glimmer of hope, only to have it extinguished, was unbearable. The string that had been taut in her heart snapped. Seeing her like this, Yichu felt a pang of pity. Strictly speaking, Yilingling was the first friend he had made since arriving in Xiandao City. He couldn't help but comfort her, saying, Miss Lingling, don't be too pessimistic. If I have the ability in the future, I will definitely help you. Seeing tears welling up in Yilingling's eyes, Duguyan quickly got up and went to Yilingling's side, embracing her. Yichu patted Ziolan beside him, signaling her to go and comfort Yilingling. Looking at Yilingling's tearful face, Yichu didn't want to stay here any longer. He still needed to go to Lianba Academy to say hello to Liu Erlong. In the lounge, Yichu's figure had already disappeared without a trace. After a long while, Lingling, are you alright? Duguyan looked at the somewhat haggard Yilingling in her arms, a hint of pity flashing in her eyes. Sister Lingling, why don't you eat something? Eating something delicious will cheer you up. Ziolan took out 2 handfuls of snacks from her soul tool and handed them to her. I'm fine. Yilingling removed her black veil, revealing her delicate, petite, and somewhat numb face. She gently shook her head and wiped her face dry with her sleeve. She said self-deprecatingly, actually, I expected this situation. It doesn't matter, she was just in a dark place, encountering a little bit of false light. She was still in darkness. Yanzi, Ziolan, I'm going home now, Yilingling said softly. She changed into her new black veil and was about to get up and walk outside. Lingling, Duguyan called out to her. She said seriously, Lingling, I think you can trust Yichu. He definitely has a way to help you, didn't you notice? Yichu just said he couldn't help at the moment. Maybe, no. He'll definitely find a way in the future, I know him. He really has so many amazing qualities. Duguyan quickly stepped forward and pulled Yilingling back. She felt she could tell Yilingling some secrets about Yichu. That way, there would be a glimmer of hope. Yilingling might not be in so much pain, and she would slowly get closer to Yichu, longing for that day to come. Blue Tyrant Academy. In Liu Erlong's courtyard. When Yichu arrived, everything was silent. But he couldn't help but frown. Just a moment ago, he felt as if someone was secretly watching him. The purple windmill in his eyes shimmered as Yichu scanned his surroundings. This kid's mental strength is pretty good, Ling Yuan Douluo, hiding in the shadows, couldn't help but exclaim. Just as she hesitated, wondering whether to retreat temporarily, a soft, alluring voice rang out. Liu Erlong suddenly ran out of the courtyard. Husband, a fragrant breeze wafted towards Yichu. Yichu, who was surveying his surroundings, was startled. A soft, gentle fragrance brushed against his face. Suddenly, he was plunged into darkness, accompanied by a slight feeling of suffocation. A magnificent bosom exuded a faint floral scent. Yichu reached out and wrapped his arms around her voluptuous waist, gently biting her cheek. The lingering fragrance filled his mouth. Liu Erlong let out an alluring soft moan. Then, blushing, she temporarily released Yichu, her charming face now flushed. Looking at Yichu, a hint of resentment appeared on her beautiful face. My lord, you've finally decided to come see me. Liu Erlong gently hooked her arm around Yichu's neck, her eyes filled with seductive allure. I'm sorry, I'll come more often in the future. Yichu looked at her fair and rosy face, which seemed to glow with moisture. His hands slid around her waist. He slowly leaned down and captured her full, cherry-like lips in his mouth, savoring that familiar sweetness. Ling Yuan Douluo, P.S. The next chapter has been posted and is under review. Wishing everyone a happy life. QQ Group. 831,821,005. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.